Good to have you with us on our Sunday coverage. Weekend's coming to a close here on Fox Sports 2. Live look at Aqueduct Racetrack here at South Ozone Park, New York. We're 15 minutes to post to the start of the late pick 4. That's race 5. Track is fast. And Oaklawn Hot Springs, 5 minutes away from their 4th race. Starts off their Classics pick 6. Going to look back on the Derby Trail yesterday. And Riley Mott looks like he might be going up against Dad, last year's Kentucky Derby winner with Sovereignty, head-to-head. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling with you. We'll look back on the Whitmore as well. 7-year-old sensation Tejano Twist does it again.
Yeah, he's won 2 races in a row. It's been quite a while since he's won 2 in a row, but he is a very cool horse that shows up. We've got 4 races left, the late pick 4 here at Aqueduct, as well, of course, as Greg said, Oaklawn.
Take a look at what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. So as mentioned, race 5, our first live action from New York, coming up here in just a moment. Back-to-back wins for Ricardo Santana Jr. before we came on the air. As mentioned, here's what's ahead, presented by Claiborne Farm. Fast in New York, fast at Oaklawn. Late pick 4 coming up. Classics, and then race 5 in Hot Springs starts the late pick 5, their 8th race at allowance feature today. And we'll get to Richie Migliore, Megan Burgess in just a few moments. You can play it all right there at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. The offer, the $200 deposit match new customer bonus with that code at sign up, match 200. So punch that in, and that offer is yours at NairaBets.com. Without further ado, let's go to Hot Springs.
Let's.
Richie Migliore, Megan Burgess, good to see you both.
What is this inside stuff, guys? I mean, you seriously,
out,
Greg
please.
and I would be outside in the cold if, I don't know why.
I'm sure you would.
No,
yeah,
I
well,
wouldn't.
we're behind the glass like you guys are. Maggie's the only one braving the elements today, and we're also behind the glass for this maiden claimer going a mile and a 16th for fillies and mares. Kind of a little bit of a hungry group.
It is. And when you get into those circumstances, it seems as though some of those, the horses that are taking money seem to be very logical players. But at the same time, horses can improve maiden $15,000 level. It's going to take a lot for them to do so, though, against some of those more experienced class droppers.
Yeah, it's a balance, right? You don't want a horse with too much experience because they haven't gotten their maiden broke, but some foundation, and a horse that will have to improve, but could is the one. Why, Chris? Why?
I took a little interest in this Minnesota bred at a price.
The 2-horse Miracle Minded, this is where I landed. I like the last race, and then she drops back in class a little bit more.
Very petite filly, dropping in class, as you mentioned.
The 3, Batista.
Lacks pedigree, no winners really in the family, leaves some to be desired. And for the $25,000 tag is an Arkansas bred.
What I yell at the kids at the farm when the ponies are in the paddock, close that gate.
Improved with distance last time out, but that was just passing tired horses and gets the same distance.
Big price on the 5, C-Note Gia.
Plotter that really hasn't shown a lot of run.
The 6-horse Danita.
Own speed, to me, the horse to beat in this race, as the tote board reflects.
Yeah, 9-5 favorite right now. The 7, Open Flame.
I believe this horse is second off the bench, could show some improvement, but we shall see. Still very much well beaten with some of that experience.
And the 8-horse taking money, Cava.
Stretches out and drops down in tag for an owner and trainer, Bruce Rakin, who also has done double duty owning this horse as well as training.
Yeah, but the 6-horse Danita does make a lot of sense, right? Her second start at Churchill Downs in a maiden allowance showed good speed that day before stopping, but got a 51 buyer figure, which would be very competitive here.
It would. She gets the blinkers off, which kind of sometimes can negate that early speed that this filly showed early on in her career routing. She's actually has 2 efforts on the grass as a daughter of higher power, but she's actually pretty well composed considering she was tacked in the winner's circle, a little bit antsy, and I'm hoping she can return, just given some of her demeanor and the way she was sharpened on track, that she'll show some more of that early speed, which when you're trying to get the mile and a 16th, and maybe that's a question for others, is very much key.
Absolutely. And I also, we've talked about it quite a bit. Lower level horses seem to me to get discouraged more easily. If you're forward, you've got to deal with less traffic, less kickback, just less adversity.
Less adversity is the key. A lot of these horses don't want to pass. They get discouraged. So I think the speed is key. There wasn't a lot of it to come by in this group.
Now the 1-horse. We're going to talk about the 2-horse now. I'm Miracle Minded. I just liked her last race. She was, listen, she ran okay on turf. But her last race would be good enough to make her competitive here, and that was coming off a bit of a layoff.
Yeah, I think she's right where she needs to be, and now dropping down in class as a New York bred, actually, daughter of painter. Dan was actually 5 for 26 routing on the dirt and a half to a black type winner, so considering a little lower level, it's nice to see a little bit of pedigree when you can find it.
A New York bred who has never run against
exactly.
New York breds. And as good as she's run on the turf, like this would be the kind of horse you would think you might see next winter up in New York at Belmont Park on synthetic, you know, through the winter. Might just fit there with New York breds.
And you never know, especially in the building stages, the time. I feel like some of those key New York connections, kind of picking up on some of these, maybe even lower level horses to have a shot, as you mentioned, at some of those aforementioned races. A lot of quality program up there. The New York bred program does a lot to kind of enhance the purse prizes and just give those New York breds opportunities. But I thought the number one, Why Chris Why, was interesting. And Bill Martin's actually been having a pretty decent meet considering his sample size of runners. Coming off of the freshening layoff, and switching trainers. Now, this horse actually is a half to Dazzlin' Dictator, who was a winner on the Synth. The second dam was a multiple graded stakes winner, Parade Queen, which she did that on the grass. I don't know, it's 17-1, Mig. If you treat this horse like a first-time starter and just take a line through that race where it didn't do a whole lot of running and needed it, thought it was interesting underneath.
And this is a Minnesota bred, absolutely dwelt at the start first time. You do see subsequently there is a gate work there, trying to work on, you know, whatever issues out of the gate this filly may have had. And listen, she's less exposed than everybody else. She only has one start.
Sometimes, to me, when you're dealing with horses that are on their 18th, 19th, 20th try, why not take a price play for a horse that has a bit of pedigree, and a lot of these just don't.
Well, it's an interesting race. You had a Minnesota bred, 2 New York breds, a few Arkansas breds, a Kentucky bred, kind of a melting pot here in race 4. They're loading into the gate. We got several out still. So you're on the 6, Donita. I'm on the 2, Miracle Minded. And we're going to send it up to Matt Dinneman for the call.
And the runners are now loading into the gate. Why Chris Why, Miracle Minded, and Batisto have gone in. Sino Gia, Dunita, Open Flame. 2 back, close that gate, and to the outside, Kava rounds out the group. Here's Kava. We're ready to go. And Leroff. Slow break from Why Chris Why. Dunita striding clear in the early stages. Batisto will take a hold in track. It's Dunita clearing off, getting to the rail from Batisto, who runs in second. Dunita clear on the front end here. Close that gate, taking the 3rd position. Miracle Minded down on the rail is running in 4th. 5 lengths off the pace early. Gap of 2 to the gray. Kava, she settles outside of Why Chris Why. Then Open Flame, who's second to last, and C-Note Gia is trailing as the 8 runners swing up the backstretch. Dunita, nice and easy, went 24-2 that first quarter mile. Strides a length and a tail ahead. Batisto on a hold, running in second. 2 back to Miracle Minded, slips inside of Close That Gate, is now 4th. 4 lengths off the pace. Another 2 lengths to Kava racing alone. Then Open Flame, Why Chris Why, and C-Note Gia has dropped to the back under pressure, approaching the half-mile pole. It's still Dunita, goes off as the 4-5 favorite with the half at 49-4. She's got everything her own way. No excuses for Dunita, who hits the 4th turn, a half length in front. Batisto getting closer, turning up the pressure, rounding the turn. Gap of 2. Miracle Minded has come under a ride. Kava outside of her. Open Flame, 5 from the lead now as they round the turn. Close That Gate is given way. Why Chris Wine, an all-out drive, not picking up the pace. And C-Note Gia still the trailer as they hit the quarter pole. Dunita coming off the turn, still clear on the lead. Miracle Minded hugs the rail. Kava on the extreme outside. Dunita is asked for her best now, and she responds to open up 3 lengths. Kava second, Miracle Minded third, approaching the 16th pole. Dunita has increased the lead to 5, and Dunita's home clear. Dunita, Manny Esquivel to win it comfortably. Kava second, Miracle Minded checks in third, Batisto holds 4th.
And it was Donita. Good call, Megan. Just ran away and hid from them, and she just got to set such a controlled tempo.
One of the slowest fractions that you will see, Mig.
I don't know that I've ever seen a half that slow at Oaklawn Park. I mean, obviously, the level of horse would lend it to it, but the way she finished, you could tell it was obviously a slow
crawling
pace.
on the front end, got to the absolute picture-perfect trip, was able to show more speed against horses that, at the end of the day, a lot of them had distance questions to begin with. So, I mean, really just leveraged the perfect situation to pull away as the overwhelming favorite.
And Cabo, nice run to be second. No excuses for Miracle Minded, the filly I like. She worked out a good trip, but Donita, much the best here in race 4 at Oaklawn.
All right, Megan, we'll get back to you with more in just a little bit. We get to their late pick 5 next. We have the late pick 4 here in New York coming up. Race 5, $12,000 maiden claiming sprint, 6.5 furlongs, and 8-5 favorite Monte Avi. Mark Hennig with Jose Gomez.
Yeah,
The 3.
I mean, it really boils down pretty much this race, which is almost the New York counterpart of the race we just saw at Oaklawn, with the 3 at 8-5, who's 0 for 10, but actually his run figures faster than the other horse in the race and is coming off a wide trip against a good rail versus So Spirited for Linda Rice, who ran once, had trouble, but ran very slowly a year ago.
The main contender, too, scratched out of the race.
Yep.
Here's the one, Jamaica Red, 0 for 14.
Well, I'm partial to Jamaica, but this horse's combined recent buyers are barely good enough to win over the last 4 races.
Here's the biggest price on the board.
Well, I mean, this horse is running negative. You rarely see a horse that's run 3 times and run a -0 buyer in each start.
8-5 favorite Monte Avi.
I picked this horse as well. I thought the last race was not as bad as it looks, and in this field is the horse to beat.
The Hero Code at 9-2.
I can't argue that based on the field, this horse looks like the third likeliest winner, maybe at least.
So Lisa's done very little wrong, So Spirited. It's Linda Rice, new gelding, and did take a little bit of money first time.
And had some trouble first time. Now, the race was wildly slow. The layoff bothers me. Linda not great off layoffs, but this horse obviously has to be considered a major contender.
And 4-1 Ruben Silvera for Leah Giramati, Weingold.
Only has a couple races on dirt, and they're not so slow that they can't compete in this race.
All right, if you're going to play this pick 4, how about I give you a little protection? If you play with narrow bets,
I need lots of protection.
hit 3 out of the 4 legs, and then you can protect your ticket, put $10 back in your pocket by opting in at nairabets.com.
Sounds like a good deal to me. How about you?
Take advantage. Every little bit helps. 3 minutes away from the race that kicks off this pick 4 sequence. Let's check in for the first time today with Maggie Wolfendale. Hi, Maggie.
Hello, gentlemen, as we have horses on the track for this 5th race, and we'll start by talking about your second choice. Now, Monte Avi, he looks great. I have no problems with him being your favorite at 9-5, but I will say this, he does not, at least in some arguably tougher races, has not shown an abundance of speed. Now, number 5, however, we don't know how fast he could be, So Spirited, because in his debut, while he was acting up quite a bit in the prelims, he also was acting up in the gate, which led to him kind of slow and lunging out of the gate, which opened the door for the 2 horses on either side of him to literally slam him, which really put him behind. Now, he's built like a horse that should have more speed as he comes back as a new gelding. I wish I could say it's changed his disposition more than it has, because he was still tough to get the tack on, though I will say out on the racetrack he does appear to be a bit more focused overall. But I do like the way he comes back physically. He is very fit. He's incredibly strong behind the saddle. So I think this guy, who's just clicked over to 9-5 favoritism at the moment, should be quicker out of the gate if he behaves himself. As we'll move on to my good friend Leah Giramati's horse, number 7, Weingold. Most of this guy's running has been done, A, at longer distances, and B, on the turf, which is where he probably wants to be, but we're trying something different here. We are going to sprint on the dirt as the blinkers come off, also off a bit of a layoff. Looks incredibly fit here off the bench, which I like to see. Has warmed up pretty nicely, but still gives the physical impression that longer on the turf is really just the answer for him. So maybe it's just a race to get him tightened to head back to the turf in a maiden claimer. Guys?
All right, Maggie, thank you. Going to load up shortly here as we go back to the 3. Monte Avi, 9-5 second choice right now.
Yeah, I think this horse is the horse to beat. This is the easiest field the horse has ever been in. And for what it's worth, trouble or not, finished 8 lengths ahead of So Spirited when that one made its debut. third off a layoff, caught a wild outside post, was 4 to 5 wide around the racetrack last time at a time you really needed to be saving ground to be effective in there. And it actually was a pretty good race the horse is coming out of as well. I feel on a fair track, which I think we're dealing with, this horse is much the horse to beat. I totally understand the 5, and I picked the horse second, and he is the other horse in this race, but I don't think there's any guarantee the 5 can run that well. And given Linda Rice's sort of mediocre numbers off the layoff, I'd rather take a slightly bigger price on the 3 than the 5. Not going to be surprised when the 5 wins, but I prefer the 3.
Looking at the rest of this sequence, did you feel in the last that Pratt, I mean, Shellac's going to be incredibly tough to beat?
I mean, isn't Shellac going to be 1 to 5 in that race?
Probably.
Especially, you know, they scratched with the scratch of Luff Corain. I mean, that horse is an overwhelming favorite. The horse that I'm a little interested in the sequence that's a price is the 7 Oath of Omerta in race number 7, the third leg of this pick 4. That horse is coming off of a rail you didn't want to be on. Time before that, I thought the horse actually ran pretty well behind better horses in running against day. Thought that horse was live at a price for Jenna Antonucci.
Well, meanwhile, this second-time starter for Linda Rice with Jose Lezcano, so spirited the 5. The slight favorite over Monte Avi, the 3. It's going back and forth right now. Chris Griffin to kick off this pick 4 on the Sunday card.
Gold. So spirited. Takes a turn. Still waiting on the hero code to go in. The hero code takes another turn, is going to try one more time. The hero code not quite in. Now the rider's going to jump off here, Omar Hernandez Moreno.
See the starting gate crew assembled around the hero code there as they make some sort of adjustment. Let's see if Maggie maybe has a better angle on what's happening.
I unfortunately don't, but generally, guys, when they put a halter on a horse, it's usually an issue with their bridle or their tongue tie or their bit. So I can't see exactly what's going on. I have the same vantage point as you guys, but they generally, when that happens, or even his tongue could be over the bit and they're just wanting to adjust it, and they put that halter on to make sure he's secure and they have a good handle on him. So there's plenty of equipment kept in that box over there next to the gate. Still can't quite work out what they're doing here, as it looks as though it's something with his noseband or his tongue tie. So they're gonna have a moment delay here, I would say, guys.
All right, so look, as they get this sorted out, is everyone else is still waiting in the gate right now?
I really don't know, but I assume
believe they
so.
are.
'Cause I don't think there are any horses behind the gate besides this horse.
Wow.
And,
That's a bit of time to be in the gate.
yeah.
So the hero code holding things up here. And meanwhile,
No, if the 4, 5, and
Okay.
this probably benefits the 5 over the 3. I don't even know.
Now-
I don't really know if not being in the gate is necessarily proven to be an advantage over time.
and they are taking him out now. So, yeah, I mean, look.
Let's talk about
You don't wanna-
Incredibolt being 13-1 in the Derby futures pool. I think he's 50-1 to be. He's 50-1 to be that short in the Derby.
I think he's 1,000-1 to be that short.
Yeah,
let's go back to
it's
Maggie.
crazy, right?
Yeah, it was an issue with the bridle as we are seeing them putting the hero code in the gate, which he doesn't want to do to start with, so they can have him in a more confined space to make that bridle switch. You know, they had the reins over his neck of that blue nylon bridle that, you know, that is there in case a situation like this arises. So they looks as though they've got him in. They're going to put that new bridle on him. Now, a lot of times, you know, horses have very specific equipment. I believe this horse may have been wearing a ring bit. So now, you know, they just go with a more general bit, a snaffle. So he'll have to wear that here today on this particular occasion. Luckily, I'm glad, Greg, that they backed everyone else out because it just wasn't fair for those 3 horses inside standing in the gate.
No, that would have been quite some time being idle there. So, yeah, stretching their legs, backed out. Meanwhile, the hero code in and still trying to get that one to settle down here as the rest of the field waits to load. And in the meantime, in terms of wagering, the 3, Monte Avi, back to 8-5 favoritism here.
Yeah, this is a frustrating situation for everyone involved, but I do see they're loading them in again, thankfully. So you're not taking the 13-1 Incredible?
We're going to talk about that. Yeah, we're going to recap that race a little bit later, that Virginia Derby and Incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, then again, the morning line emerging market in the Louisiana Derby is 6-1.
We need some better morning line makers in this.
Yeah.
We need more David Aragonas.
Yeah, and less Carrot Tops.
Can we clone him? 6.5 furlongs, $12,000 maiden claiming race coming up. The favorite about to load momentarily. There he is, Jose Gomez on Monte Avi, waiting to step in.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of remarkable. Delays like this don't happen more often.
I agree, and I think sometimes people, I mean, listen, I understand people get frustrated. They're waiting. The race is supposed to go off. But you're right. I mean, considering the number of things, the moving parts in racing, and how much more can go wrong than right, I'm amazed we make it through a single day without one debacle after another.
Credit to this starting gate crew.
Yeah, I agree.
And all the starting gate crews around the country. But we're biased, but we do have one of the best.
Agreed.
Let's go back to Chris Griffin.
Wine Gold goes in, all set, and they're off. Breaking slowly there was the hero code. It's going to be the early trailer. Midnight Musume right to the front has got early speed, is ahead in front of Jamaica Red, who works through at the rail, and now Jamaica Red puts ahead in front. Back to second is Midnight Musume, and out wider, there comes Monte Avi. Center of the racetrack is Wine Gold. The hero code is the gray, is right behind So Spirited. They're chasing Jamaica Red. Jamaica Red now has the speed, is up by 2, 23.20 the opening quarter mile. Jamaica Red takes him into the far turn. Here comes the pink silks of Wine Gold. Is to the outside here of Monte Avi. They're second and third. Midnight Musume is trying to keep up in fourth. So Spirited took back off the early heat, is now ranging up on the outside 4 wide, has got Jamaica Red in sights, and So Spirited making the move. The hero code is the trailer. Jamaica Red has a quarter mile left to go, 47.07, a half mile time. So Spirited down the center of the racetrack is making up ground. Wine Gold towards the inside, and also Monte Avi is trying to catch these rivals. So Spirited is now put a nose in front, but Wine Gold down to the inside. Monte Avi hasn't given up the fight either. Wine Gold in between horses, maybe a nose in front. These 3 down to the line together, now down to 2. Wine Gold, Monte Avi, these 2. Monte Avi gets up to win it. Monte Avi won it. Wine Gold finished second. So Spirited in the hero code at 1 minute 19.32 in today's fifth.
Had to work for it. Monte Ave winds up second choice at 8-5, getting by Wine Gold, who was stubborn down the stretch.
I mean, I think around the turn, when it looked like the 3 was really struggling, Monte Avi, the eventual winner, you'd have taken around 2-5 on So Spirited, who was looping the field. I mean, he looked like absolute gin at this point. He simply couldn't finish, and then Wine Gold for Leah almost getting that win. It would have been a nice win for Leah. First win in a while for her. But wasn't meant to be, as Jose Gomez getting the money from Mark Hennig with Monte Avi.
3-7-5-4. This race
It
had
was
a lot
works.
going on. Jamaica Red looked like he was going to steal it for a little while.
And still managed to finish second to last.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, you know, the prior race was a four-horse field, but the four of them were all lined up across the track. The eighth ball, maybe not the strongest of fields, but a nice stretch battle.
3-7-5-4 finish. Mark Hennig, Jose Gomez. Avi Brothers Stables with his 4-year-old son, a central banker. 11th timeout, finally breaks the maiden. It does so at 8-5. Well, the prices when we come back. We're going to look back to Saturday. Jimmy Winkfield winner. Igniter goes back-to-back to start off his 3-year-old campaign. Take a look back when we return on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Not far from my hood.
Yeah.
Actually,
You got a
is
little
my hood.
surfing there on the Hudson.
Sure, cold waters by the Brooklyn Bridge. We're going to look back to Saturday. Jimmy Winkfield and Igniter, the horse to beat in this stakes race yesterday, went off at odds on. And now back-to-back wins to start off this 3-year-old campaign for Rick Dutrow Jr.
Yeah, knew you and I were talking off camera, and I know there's some talk of maybe stretching him out. And given how he ran in the Remsen, I think I'm not sure I want him going longer, but maybe it was early in his career. But he ran well here, competitively. He's a nice horse. He's not really getting faster, you know. He's sort of plateauing in those mid-80 buyers. I think he got an 86 buyer here. But I thought it was a solid effort. I still think the New York bred School Coast Folly for Rick
Yes,
is
very
faster.
Well,
I
he
like
got
that
a
horse
92
better.
buyer,
Yeah,
right? His win?
2 straight impressive performances. I prefer that horse.
Sounds like, according to what Dutrow said after the race, Bayshore
7 furlong
Yeah,
race.
April 18th at 7 furlongs could be next for him.
Well, if he's good enough, he'd like to get him to Woody Stevens. I mean, it's a grade 1. Why not? Good time to dream.
Maggie Wolfendale was here, saw it live. What'd you think of the performance from Igniter?
I was here, Greg, and I was in the paddock too. As Igniter, big, good-looking horse, as I too think that he could be capable of going longer here, even though he is a son of Volatile. He just has kind of the frame for that. So yeah, I thought he was the best horse, but still pleasantly surprised that he was able to be effective going the 6 furlongs yesterday in the Winkfield. I like them kind of sticking to what has worked best. I hate when horses try to, fit square pegs in round holes, but I would eventually like to see this horse try a little bit more ground, just given the way he looks. But no doubt about it, Rick does have some nice horses, some nice 3-year-olds in his arsenal to go through the year with. And like you said, School Coast Folly, he was devastating last time out with that stakes victory.
Yeah, very excited about that horse, but he's got a couple of, very talented 3-year-olds. And we'll see what the next steps are.
Well, with School Coast Valley, I think he's eligible for the Stallion Series races, which could be very lucrative for him, and not so great for the others.
Yeah, he's
gonna
talented.
Punish those horses.
That was an impressive runner, but yeah, Igniter now back-to-back wins. Undefeated in his 3-year-old campaign. Back to our Sunday action. Monte Avi did not look like it was going to happen for him.
No.
But eventually gets up and gets by Weingold for the victory here at 8-5.
The real pros know how to grind out the victory. That's what happened with Monte Avi. He had an opposite triple last time. It was no fault of Kendrick's last time. The horse drew a far outside post. There's really nothing he could do, but that horse who was wide last time found himself very close to the inside for much of the race today, and it probably helped a little bit.
Wow, how good did it look for So Spirited here, and then just flattens out.
I mean, that was layoff or not. I don't know. I'm going to guess that So Spirited finds a better field next time. What do you think? Just a hunch.
$5.46 for the win. $3.75 in race 5. We'll set up the 6 when we come back. 4 minutes away from the 5th out at Oaklawn. Starts the late pick 5, 2-turn mile. Condition $12,000 claiming race. Camp Daddy, the favorite, Christian Torres, will ride. We'll send it out to Hot Springs when we come back.
$1,600,000, thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
And here's Tama in the final stages. The Santa Anita Derby goes to Tama. It's Tama, absolutely terrific, winning Malibu by 4 widening lengths.
She's so spicy. She won it by 4 lengths on the wire. Side by side and stride for stride. Who's it going to be? My Soldier Citizen Bull. Fair has it close to home from Brussels. Cybears, the Breeders' Cup winner.
And Skippy's got it won. It's an upset in Pegasus 10.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. We're only a few minutes out from race 5 here. We've got maidens going 1 mile, not maidens, excuse me, claimers going 1 mile, 12.5 claimers in fact. And Megan, I think you and I both landed on the same horse in number 7 here.
Camp Daddy.
Camp Daddy.
Yeah, Camp Daddy is, to me, 9 to 5, 2 to 1, as this is to me a very wide open race. I think you can make a case for many in here, but Camp Daddy has the speed for a barn that's doing really well this meet, winning at a 30% clip with Christian Torres aboard back from his Virginia travels.
And he had some success in Virginia, Christian riding so well. I thought it was an interesting race. I mean, the one-horse Tahoe Run has speed, but more on the turf.
Very, I mean, has just not also fared whatsoever in just those recent grass tries. Routing has never won at this distance, has hit the board for a low percentage barn. So I will say this horse does have speed from the inside, so I'm hoping they're more aggressive with this horse. It hasn't worked for him really as of late, but I do think the 7 Camp Daddy is going to be faster early.
Yeah, and really not a race that seems to have a tremendous amount of speed signed on. Do you think there's any of the speed that could come, potentially maybe the 8 a little, Global Empire?
Potentially. Forwardly placed for sure. We'll see if Walter De La Cruz is aggressive. Does have the speed, though. I think maybe could even get the better of the 1. So 7-8, to me, though, 7, Christian's going to get this horse to the front end and roll. And coming off last time out, also I just thought the horse looked best physically, but last time out he chased a wire-to-wire winner who was cozy on the front end and Dick Best, and then, you know, a cheaper horse kind of caught behind more forward. If he gets the jump, I think he'll really benefit from that.
Yeah, and you know, one thing, like I always try to handicap riders as well as horses, right? What riders' tendencies are. Walter De La Cruz is a rider that tends to be aggressive on a normal circumstance.
You know, I thought the 5XL calculator for Wayne Potts, who's doing pretty well here. We'll just take a look at that effort last time out on February the 21st against a $10,000 claimers when he was with David Jacobson, and I thought he ran a really good race this day. It was a pretty average pace, honestly pretty quick considering the level there, and he was hopped at the start. He was completely taken aback. He's a closer anyway. With 2 horses on the lead and Manfredi and Little Steven, that pace held. They were on the pace 1-2 all the way around the racetrack, and he's only, as you see him come up there, he's really the only one that made up any sort of ground, albeit well back. So I think he's going to be interesting, but I still am hesitant to take closers in these kinds of scenarios for sure.
Closers that, you know, have a tendency to get out of the gate a little bit sloppily, which he does. I mean, you know, last time he hopped, but there's other times he's a step slow or he stumbles. That usually means a horse that's shuffling their feet, you know, quite a bit. How about the 3-horse What's Up Doc, taking this big drop in class, but another that has absolutely no early speed?
He's just slower early, and it makes me nervous that he's going to have a lot of work to do. And I'm going to switch to number 4, Gasoline, there at a price. Some of his back races make so much sense to me. He just hasn't quite been the same since some of those races up in New York.
Yeah, you know, listen, Father Time is undefeated. All athletes at some stage lose a step. We'll see. Gasoline, though, a horse that had always been honest and consistent. We're on the 7, Camp Daddy. I like the outdoors. I think I'm a Camp Daddy. Let's send it up to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
Here's Gasoline and Metatron's Muse to the outside. We're ready to go. And we're off from post 8. Global Empire sent for speed. So is Camp Daddy shown rain to get up there. Tahoe Run in the mix. The Thunderer down on the inside. Now easing off the speedster. Tahoe Run, who has the lead into the clubhouse turn. The Thunderer runs in second. Camp Daddy third. He's parked on the rail. Global Empire to his outside. Then comes Critical Threat deep on the course with Excel Calculator. What's Up Doc to the inside. Gasoline, Metatron's Muse. Those two trail together. Just 8 lengths off the speed. Approaching the backstretch. That speed is Tahoe Run. Tahoe Run down the Oaklawn Barn side. Leads 3 parts of a length here. In second, the Thunderer right there on the outside in the 2-path. Global Empire third. Camp Daddy in a good spot fourth. 3 lengths off the pace. 2 more back to Critical Threat. Also Metatron's Muse, who's getting closer. Excel Calculator is between horses. What's Up Doc down on the inside. Gasoline. Now the clear trailer, still 8 from front to back. Remember, this race will end at the 16th pole. Into the turn they go. Tahoe Run, 3 parts of a length ahead. The Thunder tracking intently second. He's put 2.5 lengths on Global Empire. Camp Daddy being asked to pick up the pace. He's under a hard ride down on the fence. Metatron's Muse is next as they approach the top of the lane. Tahoe Run still clear and going strong. Tahoe Run accelerates to a 2-length lead. The Thunder behind chasing hard. Camp Daddy looked for a spot outside. He's going to try to get down inside here for the final furlong, but needs to quicken. Here comes the Thunder coming back at Tahoe Run. Tahoe Run trying to find more. The Thunder right there on the outside. The Thunder gradually wears down Tahoe Run. The Thunder wins. Tahoe Run second. Then Global Empire. Camp Daddy was fourth across the finish.
Race 5 at Oaklawn Park was dominated by the 2 horses up on the front end. Tahoe Run led them almost every step of the way until very late when the Thunderer was able to wear him down.
It was a good move on Rafael Bejarano's part to get this horse to the front end, the number 1, but just edged out late, setting a slow fractions early. But the number 2, the Thunderer, nice win for Greg Compton, who hasn't really picked up a lot of steam this meet, but this horse won this race in almost the exact same fashion he did in his last start, where he just got there late against cheaper. So this was a pickup. This was an uptick in class and a very nice rally from this horse.
Well, from 5,000 onward as a 2 in a year to 12.5 here at Oaklawn, the Thunderer gets it done.
Megan, thank you. Race 6 in New York. 6 furlong sprint, $12,000 claiming tag, all for sale for that price. It's for non-winners of 2 life. And here's the favorite, Savvy Sunset.
Yeah, likely to be second choice by post time. I picked this one. I like the horse's speed. I'm hoping that Raylu is aggressive and just sends the front. Didn't seem to handle a wet track against Tougher last time. But the race 2 back, the maiden win, albeit in the horse's 13th start, I thought was good enough to win. The favorite, Take Me to London, might win this race, but I got to tell you, that's a tough horse to take as the likely favorite.
Well, here's Savvy Sunset. It was 2 back, and it was a gate-to-wire easy. At this point, it's over.
Yeah, I mean, the horse was 3 to 5. Now, this was not a bias-aided victory, and it's not the only time this horse has run good figures. And it seems like on a dry track, if this horse gets to the front end, I thought she'd be tough to catch. Though, I think if I wanted to price, the horse Maggie likes, the 6 Eleni is a little bit interesting in here as well. My idea is to try to beat the 2, Take Me to London, who can win, but is not my cup of tea, as the likely favorite.
Take Me to London. Next door to this one, the 2, as you mentioned, Brad Cox, Jamie Rodriguez will team up.
I thought the last race was really a record race that looked so much better on paper. I mean, Spirit of Esther, who's won for many, got completely left in there, had real trouble. Calling an audible rarely wins. This horse should have won, as we're looking at the 6, the price horse I mentioned.
Yeah, this would be win number 3 on the card for Ricardo Santana Jr. with more on Eleni. Let's go to Maggie.
And with that rider change is why I'm kind of interested in number 6, Eleni here, getting Ricardo Santana aboard. Look, I don't love her recent form that much, but she was wired last time by Lagren Artisana, and she broke a little slow that day. I don't think she has to be that slow. You know, furthermore, she was coming off a little bit of a layoff, so it could have been just a bit of ring rust, and she could find herself with Ricardo aboard, who can be a little bit more aggressive, just more forwardly placed. She looks incredibly fit now here in the paddock, second off the bench, and she's kind of nicely on the bridle, so engaged and showing an eagerness to indicate that possibly she should be more forward here. Look, she's no bargain by any means because she broke her maiden for 10 at Penn National, and those aren't typically horses I want to take, but the problem is I'm not thrilled with any of the favorites who will get to, I should say physically, I'm not thrilled with them. We'll get to number 4, Tammy's Cruiser, who I am, weirdly. I do like what I'm seeing from her physically. She looks best in this field by kind of a long way as far as her coat and her weight are concerned, but it's hard to forgive her. I mean, last time, okay, she was beaten by 1-2 Baby Sassicaia. She ran fine, but her performances 2, 3, 4 back are somewhat unforgivable. And if she runs any of those, then she is not getting any piece of this here today. So we'll see. Maybe She is turning a corner as she drops back down to the 12.5 here, and really does look best in the paddock, where number 3, Savvy Sunset, honestly, one of the better times I've seen her, and she definitely gets class relief after an ambitious placing fresh off the maiden 16 win last time out. But take me to London. I'm with Andy. I will gladly try to beat this filly, who never impresses me physically. She always looks a bit weaker behind, never shows any inclination of sharpness or keenness here pre-race. She's just very, very docile and kind of sullen acting. And for me, those 3 consecutive beaten favoritism performances, I'd rather just stay away, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. We'll get to the post parade in a moment. Approaching the 5-minute mark to post here in race 6 in this late pick 3. We talked with Christie's in a representative before this sale happened. The collection from Jim Irsay, the late owner of the Indianapolis Colts, who had so many great pieces, including this Secretariat Triple Crown saddle that was used in a lot of the lead-up races to the Triple Crown. Sells for $1.2 million, plus the premium added on top winds up going for $1,524,000. Not bad. Good piece of history to have.
Absolutely. No, I agree. A lot of interesting things. Boy, he was quite the collector, Jim Irsay.
Worn in the Sanford, in the Hopeful, Gotham, Wood.
Why not the Triple Crown races, though?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Well, it was worn in the Kentucky Derby the year before with Riva Ridge.
Riva Ridge, right. Yeah, he won 2/3 of the Triple Crown.
Naira should have bid on it.
Sure, that would have gone over well. People would have liked that on social media. They don't like Andy on social media.
And you had mentioned, I believe, several Ringo Starr's drum kit went on.
You and I were surprised that didn't go for
$1.2 million.
more.
I would have that was on the Ed Sullivan show. I thought that would have gone for 10 plus.
Yeah, as big a fan as I was of Jerry Garcia, $11.5 million for the Tiger seems like quite a price, especially considering Irsay did about 25 years ago, I think, for $2 million.
For those who don't know what the Tiger is,
it's the guitar that Jerry Garcia played almost all the time from about 1980. And it was replaced by similar-looking guitars, but I think slightly different guitars in the later years, starting in the early 90s. But Tiger, he played for a good 10 years. A couple of appearances by Wolf during '89 while Tiger and others were being rehabilitated.
Back to this 6th race. We'll get to the post parade here coming up in a moment. So, formful finish in race 5. It looks like certainly the 2-3. You mentioned the 6, though, as an alternative in this race potentially. A Lenny. Anyone outside of that trio that?
Well, I'm not going to stand. I'm not going to. Anybody wants to bet somebody else in here, I'm not going to stop them. I mean, obviously the 1 who's a huge price, a little hard to make, and so is the 7. But I'm not even. Why is the 7 15-1 in this race? And horses like the 4 and 5 are 5-1, 5 and 6. I mean, are 5-1 and 9-2. The 7 isn't significantly slower. Is actually coming out of some races that may be a little tougher. I don't like the 7, but I picked the 7 4th. I don't think the horse should be 15-1.
Yeah, I guess just some others have shown ability to, on occasion, reach a higher level.
Yeah,
that one is really not.
I agree. I think that's a very fair point. I'm just saying I don't know why the horse is 15-1. I mean, what?
Agree.
Where? I mean, listen. I think the 6 is a little interesting, but where's that horse's fast races? The fastest win was at Penn National in a maiden 10, and what happens at Penn National stays at Penn National for the most part.
Here comes our post parade. We'll start with Jay's Love, 1 for 13 lifetime. Has only hit the board on one other occasion. Was at this level last start and was 8th in a field of 10 at 49.01.
I mean, the horse came off of a little over a 13-month layoff and has run 2 just awful races. Just doesn't appear to be able to run anymore.
Someone put a little bit of money on the horse.
Well, a little bit would be the operative word.
Take Me to London, 2-1 favorite.
Yeah, I can't forgive the horse's last race versus losing races. He's been the favorite. 3 straight races without winning. Not for me again, but could win.
Speed with Savvy Sunset went by, and here's Tammy's Cruiser.
Yeah, Tammy's Cruiser will probably be stalking outside Savvy Sunset. I just think Savvy Sunset's a better horse.
It will be fun. Cantermachi Barn has the 4 as well.
The horse will also be forward a little bit, drops down off the last race, but finished well behind Tammy's Cruiser, the 4.
Here's Eleni Santana looking for number 3 today.
He was against the track last time, and I think has some things to like. Second off a little bit of a laugh. Not really.
And Christopher Elliott, Paul Barrow Barn, Sill's Pleasure.
I don't like this horse, but at 16-1, I think she's probably reasonable value. I don't know why she is such a big price in this field.
2 minutes away, race 6. Final pick 3 of the afternoon here in New York. Play it right there at Naira Bets. The offer again. That $200 deposit match, new customer bonus when you punch in match 200 at sign up. Right there at nairabets.com. Take advantage of all those bankroll builders on the road to the Kentucky Derby. You would have profited off that yesterday. You liked the winner.
Incredible. Yeah, I completely forgot to bet. And I even opted into the promo, and I just completely and totally forgot to bet. Stupid.
Minute to post coming up as we look at Savvy Sunset. Showed you that dominant win 2 back. That was for maiden claiming 16,000 and tried a little bit too tough next start.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like the last race, not only was the field tougher, but you also got a sloppy sealed track, and the horse just never was able to get anywhere forward in there. Just the wrong spot for this horse. Now in a much more reasonable spot, and I'm thinking Raylu. Raylu knows what to do, which is send, so I like him, and I also use Maggie's horse. I made a little pick 3 play to get alive to a horse I like in the next race, the Omerta horse.
Yeah, Raylu Gutierrez, there he is on the 3 for John Terranova.
I think Raylu's ridden very well in the opportunities he's gotten. He's been on top of the track when there's been biases. He's looked to be aggressive, and I really think he's ridden well here this winter. And you know, I'm glad to see him sticking around, and I hope it sort of works out for him going forward. He's a good young rider.
Take Me to London, 9-5, was at this, dropped into this lowest level of her career last start. Was favored, beat is the favorite, but a repeat of that race very likely to win here, isn't it?
No.
No?
I don't. No, I think the 3 is a better horse and has more speed. I'm sorry, I thought this was an awful race by this horse, and I really think that she's simply favored because it's Brad Cox. You know, and they look at Cox in this field, and the name jumps out, and I get that. But to me, it's a negative this horse keeps losing for Brad Cox, because that barn in New York, I mean, you know, they
everyone in this field keeps
high
losing.
Percentage. I agree. It is not a strong field, but I cannot take the horse. I don't understand why the 3 is the same price as the 4. To me, Savvy Sunset's much more likely to win, but maybe I'll be proven wrong.
Well, 9-5 favorite on Take Me to London. Second try at this condition. Trying to find the right spot. Went from allowance optional claiming 50 down to 30, down to 17, now down to 12. We'll see if today is the day to get win number 2 with Jamie Rodriguez. Chris Griffin with the 6th on our Sunday coverage from Aqueduct.
Tammy's Cruiser. It will be fun. Eleni. Sills Pleasure, last to load. And in. All set. And they're off. Throwing her head at the start was It Will Be Fun. As far back the early trailer. Savvy Sunset right to the front, and Tammy's Cruiser applies the pressure. Sills Pleasure out wider in third. Jay's Love is a close-up fourth, down at the rail, and in between horses Take Me to London. Right there is Eleni, is in the green silk, center of the racetrack, and trying to make up ground after the beginning. It Will Be Fun. On the front end, Tammy's Cruiser has a neck advantage, 23 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile, but here's Sills Pleasure ready to challenge. At the rail, Savvy Sunset trying to hold that position, now loses ground, is back to third. It's a wide run for Eleni and Take Me to London. There in fourth and fifth, and trying to run on Jay's Love. It Will Be Fun. Still the trailer. Sills Pleasure, the big long shot, does now put a nose in front of an all-in Tammy's Cruiser. Savvy Sunset took off the early heat, is looking to re-rally, and down the center of the racetrack, it's still Sills Pleasure. Here is Savvy Sunset, and in between rivals now starts to weave on through. Also running on Take Me to London. It Will Be Fun is trying to pull this off grandstand side. It is now Savvy Sunset the target with a 16th left to go. Take Me to London is right there. Eleni out wider. Give it to Savvy Sunset. Savvy ride from Raylu Gutierrez to get the victory. Savvy Sunset won it. Take Me to London. Eleni. And It Will Be Fun in 1 minute 12.46 seconds.
Savvy Sunset started out 0 for 12. Now has won 2 of the last 3.
And it really was a savvy ride by Raylu. He just didn't want to be inside in the 3-horse duel, and he took the risk of looking bad and sort of taking back a little bit. He was able to get through, get between horses, and get it done. It felt like Take Me to London had the jump on her and maybe had the momentum, but Take Me to London doesn't want to win, and she was able to get the job done, but she was able to hold off the 3 just barely for second. 2-3-6. 3-2-6, excuse me, 3-2-6. Ended up to 2-1 co-favorite. Second choice.
Keep our eyes on the 5 here out of the gate.
That's bad. Actually, this horse ran very well.
4th.
Right, this horse actually,
Not that far beat,
right.
considering this beginning.
Yeah, this horse might have won the race. Actually, this could have been a lot closer if. Yeah, I hadn't even noticed that. I didn't even realize the horse had closed that well. I knew she had, but I hadn't put it together. She was the one that broke so badly.
3-2-6-5, and just about to start entering your screen. It Will Be Fun, who winds up 4th in the race. Maggie.
Well, I think Gokhan Kokakaya, knowing that she does this, she breaks slow and then she runs off. He just had a literal hammer lock on her to prevent her from running off, an 1/8 of a mile into the race. So when he did that and she broke, she got upset, threw her head in the air, but he literally continued said hammer lock until the quarter pole. And I was talking with Dustin Drugas, who is the assistant to Brad Cox. I said, oh my gosh, Dustin, watch this horse win. Luckily, she had too much to do and didn't beat him for second, but she's not easy to ride. So maybe in hindsight, it was a blessing.
Big late run after a start that pretty much took away any chance of winning for you. One to keep your eyes on next time out.
Good points. No, the problem with that horse, as Maggie has constantly pointed out, because remember we had this conversation when she and I did the pre-race show last year.
All the time.
This horse just cannot get out of the gate, and she had given me a lecture about that last time and was dead right.
It's not nearly that bad all the time.
Yeah, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, and I think that what Maggie's points were very interesting, what she said, and I think that's why the horse was able to finish. So it doesn't matter, right, with that horse. She's going to get left again next time.
Back to Oaklawn Race 6. It is 10 minutes away, 8-5 favorite, a first-time starter for Dallas Stewart from the rail. American Man. Did you want to add something?
Both the 1 and 2 worked the 2-year-old sales and worked impressively. Now, that was a year ago, but the 1 worked 10 flat and the 2 worked 20 2/5 for a quarter mile.
Let's go to Megan.
Well, that's right, Andy, just taking the words out of my mouth. But we've got a pretty solid group of 3-year-old colts going the 6-furlong distance maiden special weight. The number 1, I'll start with your current 9-5 favorite, American Man. He's a hunk. He is an out-and-out sprinter. And while Andy did mention they both worked at the 2-year-old sale and they were both rather expensive, I think the American Man is the sprinter of the 2. He is a solid, substantive colt who's just strong, strapping, got that muscle behind that really propels him. Good-looking. I liked the looks of his 2-year-old Breeze last year, where he sold for $475,000. The dam, a half-sister to Champion Latruska, though the immediate family, not all that overzealous, but a 1/2 to 3 winners, both long and short. I thought his works have really given me the indication he's ready to fire, and he's done them solo. The number 2, Black Star, one that got the training track on. He's been a little bit of a handful, as you see assistant to trainer Steve Asmussen, Darren Fleming on his head. He's the one that, son of Independence Hall, $700,000 son, that I have my questions about this distance. I think it's a starting point for him. He's a sizable colt. And Steve, 5% in that, 5% past 5 years with those first-time starters, but he was flashy and well put together. I like what I saw. I just do think this is a starting point for him. Then number 5, Mum Doggy has been taking some money with the experience in this group, and I have my questions about him, though. Coming off of the bench for trainer Mike Maker, though he's very sharp, and I think, Greg, he's going to be one that will continue to show that early speed in this group.
Megan, thank you. We are going to have the post parade for you when we come back from a short timeout. Maiden special weight to start the late pick 4 in Hot Springs. We'll get back to it after this timeout. Back on our Sunday coverage on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, making the sport easier to follow. Explore stories, betting tips, race day insights at americasbestracing.net. Can we have a conversation for a minute? Yeah. If you are not playing today, you are missing out. Pick 3's alive. Pick 3 in the last race just paid what? $101?
You got the 5-1 in a 4-horse field that should have probably been the second choice. And you got 2 co-favorites.
These are remarkable pick 3 payouts.
Well, I was just saying to Greg, I'm alive with the 7, and the pick 3 with the 7 is paying $125 off a double that paid $10 for a dollar. You're getting 11 to 1 and change on the 7 and the pick 3, which seems like big value.
Remarkable. Savvy Sunset with the win as we move on. Raylu Gutierrez, John Terranova hit the Bid Racing stable. This next race, 1-turn mile, New York Breds, $35,000 starter allowance coming up. The 5 Solo Dancing current favorite. By the way, Pratt picking up the mount on a 3 easy roll.
What am I missing about Solo Dancing, Greg?
Real quick, cross country, pick 5, it starts here. I thought several races that factor in, but I mean, does anyone scare you here?
No, I think the 4 is probably the horse to beat and will ultimately be the favorite. I think Easy Roll picks up Pratt is dangerous. I picked the race 7-4-3.
But yeah, Solo Dancing should not be 5-2.
I didn't have Solo Dancing in my top 5, which might be good for Solo Dancing. I didn't get that horse at all.
We're going to get back to Hot Springs when we return. 4 minutes away, race 6. This maiden special weight, 6 furlong sprint coming up. We'll check back in with Megan right after a break.
Prince of Monaco's too good for Moose, an impressive winner of the best pal. Miramondi's all hot, but Prince of Monaco too good.
Prince of Monaco, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Seize the Gray wins convincingly.
Seize the Gray! He's going to seize the day in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Seize the Gray is still there. Seize the Gray wins the Preakness. Spine-tingling, jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, Secretariat-like.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. We got a really good-looking maiden race here, Megan. A lot of high-priced horses in here. 6 of the 7 ran through the auction ring for a total of $2,465,000.
It's an incredible race and one that honestly gets me really excited, especially on a Sunday card. You're rounding out the weekend, and these are some horses to look forward to, particularly the horse that's kind of vying for favoritism. To me, should be your favorite, the number 1 American Man, who's just looks so strong here in the mornings, Meg.
This is a $475,000 two-year-old training purchase by McLean's Music. Good works coming into it, and he's taking the money, so it kind of points him out.
Breaks from the rail. He's worked solo, so we'll see how he handles the pressure from his outside. And he's just been doing it so easily. He hasn't really been hustled, hasn't had any big equipment notes or changes. To me, that he's just such a well-put-together colt that I like the way this horse is moving, and I think, like I mentioned in my paddock report, he's the sprinter of this group. This is what he wants to do.
Absolutely. The 2-horse Black Star. This is a $700,000 two-year-old trading purchase. Obviously a good work, but by Independence All out of a mare who has not produced yet. So this must be one very good-looking individual.
He breezed 2 furlongs in 20-2, and he's very athletic. He's very well made, and the Independence Halls didn't get off to the most ferocious of starts as 2-year-olds, but they have really been coming on in 3 with some growth, with some maturity, and even with a little bit of ground. But they've been flashy at the 6 furlongs. He was on his toes. He was sharp. I anticipate him to be more forward. I think in my last stat said Steve Asmussen was 5%. He's 5% with first-time starters at Oaklawn Park in the past 5 years.
Interesting stat. I do like the fact that he has a 3/4 or a 6 furlong work and 112 and change out of the gate at Fairgrounds. That'll put a lot of foundation, a lot of stamina in one. That's a big-time kind of workout. The 6, Himothy, he has experience. He was very short prices in both his first and second start. I picked him. I think if he can get back to his first start at Churchill, it'd be very tough. Last time basically was eliminated at the break when he stumbled.
And then you see that he got some time. It's March now. That was in December. So obviously, maybe even a minor of setback. Maybe they just wanted to give him a little bit more time to move past it. I think that if he gets back to that initial race at Churchill Downs last fall, he's going to be tough. Always so good looking. A son of Yalpon, who Ron Moquetta has done a good job with and just well meant in this spot.
Yeah, a horse that, like I said, was really short prices, 2 starts that last start maybe kind of threw people off the trail a little bit. I think if he gets away clean, he will be tough. The 8 Vintage Cowboy, the other Asmussen with Keith aboard. Horse got a very sharp 59 and change gate work, 2 back and in Houston. This is a half to Coppola. $1 million earner, albeit on the turf.
A $500,000 first crop essential quality who have been just really coming on. This is a good looking colt that I had interest in. I think the distance could be his friend, though. It does break from the outside. This is a strong group, Mig.
Really interesting maiden race coming up here. Matt Dinneman, he'll have the call.
Here's Vintage Cowboy. Go again. We're ready to go. And we're off. Black Star was away slowly. American Man right to the lead here. Strides with Stone County. Himothy on a hold right now is third in the early stages. Mum Doggy right behind with Vintage Cowboy. Noble Anthem is 4 lengths off the pace, joining the aforementioned duo in a space of 4 to Black Star, the slow starter. It's American Man clearing off, approaching the half-mile pole. Leads a length and a half from Stone County. Himothy in third. Noble Anthem making an early move all the way level third now. Just 2 lengths off the lead as he hits the 4-turn run. Mum Doggy is between the Ron Moquette pair. Gap of 2. Vintage Cowboy has come under a ride. His stablemate Black Star at the rear as they round the far turn. American Man neck in front. There goes Himothy in the 3 path. Stone County between them, hitting the quarter pole. American Man is the leader here from Himothy in the second position. Stone County chasing right behind. Noble Anthem hugs the rail as they come down the lane. American Man switches leads, opens up 3. Mum Doggy coming with a charge now. American Man 1 furlong to go. 3-length lead. Mum Doggy trying hard in second, gradually getting to American Man, but American Man has a little more left, and American Man is going to win on debut. American Man, the son of McLean's Music, does it. Mum Doggy second, Vintage Cowboy third, Noble Anthem checked in 4th.
And it was American Man in race 6 here. A really good-looking maiden allowance race at Oaklawn Park, and nice call here, but a good, resolute, professional effort from the rail.
This is a horse you're going to want to bookmark, and even though who knows what as this race comes back, but that was incredibly professional to handle himself getting to the front end from that rail position. He took pressure from the outside. He's been a buzz horse right here at Oaklawn Park for Dallas Stewart and Gervais Racing, who they have another really nice horse in Tough Catch. He ran an admirable effort yesterday in the Whitmore.
Yeah, good runner-up effort in the Whitmore, won by the venerable Tejano Twist, his 12th career victory, and he got pace to run at. I think the track was playing kind of his speed, but this was maybe his best effort in a while.
This was the best I've seen him honestly look, Meg. This was very impressive. He put these horses away under the most confident of rides by Francisco Arrieta, and it was just so easy for him. Look at that acceleration. He just breezed past them, and while you could argue that maybe this field doesn't have the likes of a Roland Big Joe in here to nail him late, he really impressed me, and I think he's going to give Roland Big Joe a hand in the Count Fleet coming later on this month in that lucrative stakes series.
Well, he's put together such a nice record here at Oaklawn Park. To me, he is Whitmore light, and what a confident ride, confident handling from Francisco Arrieta. I mean, he never even thought about using his crop. He tipped him out to the clear. And as he was passing the horses, he was already taking him in hand, and he just strode out past them as easy as could be. A nice effort.
Sort of like the maiden that we just saw, professional and clear, holding off the late charge of that number 5 Mum Doggy. But I think I got excited watching that horse run.
Well, it was American Man here in the 6th, guys.
109-3, yeah, for that 6 furlongs in the debut for American Man. Well done, Dallas Stewart. Francisco Arrieta as we get back to New York for this 1-turn mile. And we get a look at the 5 here, Solo Dancing. No longer the favorite, but one of 3 on the board at 5-2. Let's go down to Maggie.
Yeah, we'll start right there, Greg, with number 5, Solo Dancing. As last time I just thought he was out sprinted early in that muddy racetrack, but two back, I did think he was totally with the racetrack, saving every inch of ground, getting up along the rail with Christopher Elliott aboard. Now, Ricardo Santana will take over today, and he looks fine here in the paddock. He's a bit of a bigger, good-looking type. Could look better in his coat if I was splitting hairs with regards to a short-priced horse, but I just think he's been in very opportunistic positions in his races, and I just don't know how good he actually is. Whereas a horse to his inside is number 4, Caddy Master, as he looks to be one that turns back. So therefore, he's got that 9 furlongs, that stamina kind of built in. He does truly look like a 2-turn horse, but I'm okay with him getting back to a mile here. And last time involved in a race where the pace just held together overall. He was on the rail for the first half, but then he moved out wider, getting away from that good rail that day back on February 4th. He looks best here in the paddock, and I think he might prove to be the best horse. Moving on to Oath of Omerta, number 7. For Jenna Antonucci. Last time out, he was on a sloppy, sealed racetrack, and he's one of those bigger, heavier horses that I just don't think that physical makeup translates well to a wet track. I know he has the win on a wet track, but his better races, his faster race, including two-back, came over a fast racetrack. And speaking of that race, two-back, he was in against much better horses, was still able to run third that day, so maybe that's a truer indication of who he really is. And, you know, first off the bench, he needed that race, and 2, it was just too short for him going the 6.5 furlongs. And then just a quick note on number 3, Easy Roll, avoided claim last time because of a medication violation. That was for 12.5. I'm still of the mind that this is more of a turf horse. I know the figure was good enough to win here last time out, but especially on the dirt, I don't know that the mile is really his thing either. So he's one at a short price that I'm a little bit leery of too, Greg.
All right, thank you, Maggie. Approaching the 5-minute mark to post here for this 7th race coming up. Easy Roll. Pratt will hop aboard, and this will look back to January 23rd, and this is the one that makes this horse incredibly dangerous here.
I agree. I mean, it's interesting what Maggie talks about, and I don't completely disagree with her. We haven't proven this horse is a dirt horse, but at face value in that race, it was a very good effort. The problem I have with the race is Shoot the Nichols effort. He was coming off of a brutal hang job a week before where he ran a 74 buyer. He exploded to an 84 buyer, which I think is far and away the fastest number he's ever run. Now, there were a lot of gaps in the race. There was 8+ lengths back to the third horse, which leads me to believe it came up a fast race. I just kind of want to see it again.
And it was against, pretty soft company.
But gets Flavien Prat, so obviously going to take a lot of money.
Indeed. And there is the 2-time reigning Eclipse Award winning rider. As we have our post-parade coming up in a moment. Back to Oaklawn. Worth the wait for this 3-year-old to finally get on the racetrack. American Man wins it first, asking for trainer Dallas Stewart. 109.3 for the 6 furlong.
That horse worked fast in the sale, and sometimes those horses come out and they have no speed. They get left like the number 2 did, but not this one. He shot out at the gate and held up a pretty good horse in Mum Doggy. They were way ahead of the field. It was a very nice debut. We'll see if he can continue on with that.
158 finish. And that's 6th at Oaklawn. As we return to New York, riders up and post-parade coming up as they make their way onto the track. Favorite Caddy Master right now, Linda Rice, Manny Franco. The 4.
That horse should be favored.
Start with Easy Bourbon here from the inside.
I just think Easy Bourbon is a cut below these. Does have one race fast enough to compete, but I didn't like the recent efforts. But I guess this horse not impossible as Mark looks for his second win today.
Here's Pratt for Ray Handel, who was on the desk with us yesterday.
We'll see. Is he good enough to run in a more competitive spot here? If he runs back to his last number, he is.
Linda Rice, Manny Franco, Caddy Master, the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I have no knock on this horse. It's just like a logical horse. Ran against better horses last time and is in a more appropriate spot for Linda.
And, yeah, that price has become a little more realistic now. Solo Dancing 9-2.
Yeah, I mean, I think that horse is a fringe player, but at least to me is no better than that.
I thought this one a fringe player too. 10-1. Kiss Me, Hold Me, Thrill Me.
Right. I don't know why this horse is necessarily twice the price of the 5. To me, they look very similar on paper.
Has a quicker race, 2 back. Even though finished behind that one last out. Here's Oath of Omerta. Jenna Antonucci, Christopher Elliott.
Well, this horse was on a bad inside last time out. The time before that, I thought actually ran pretty well when finishing third behind 2 horses I think would be favored in this race. I like this horse's chances, and he's supposed to be forward. Eric is supposed to be aggressive here. There's not a lot of speed in this race.
And the biggest price on the board, Resilient Hero for Jose Jimenez.
Well, I don't know why this horse is 24-1. The races 2, 3, 4, 5 back are all fast enough to get a piece of this race. I think this horse is a crazy overlay at this price.
Back to the 7. And Oath of Omerta.
I'm going to be very disappointed if this horse is not forwarded here. There's not a lot of speed. I think this horse could be loose in the lead. Easy Bourbon might go from the inside with Raylu, and if he goes, then I think you're supposed to stalk, but I think Eric's supposed to look to have the lead in this race. This horse is absolutely capable of being in front of this field.
You know, he won Gate to Wire. That was on a wet track, the only one of his career at Saratoga last summer in July. As we go to Caddy Master next, who Maggie has sided with. The public is as well. Linda Rice, Manny Franco. And coming out of a New York bred first level allowance race, 1 1/8 will cut back in distance here.
And I apologize. Christopher Elliott's riding the 7, who I have confidence will be aggressive. Thank you.
We said that.
I didn't say it. I got it wrong, but I get a lot of things wrong.
All right, to Caddy Master.
I think. I mean, it's just a logical horse, right? The horse has run 2 straight decent races. I like the cutback from 2 turns to 1 turn. The distance suits the horse. Ran a figure, you know. I mean, look at this horse. The horse finished a nose behind Mad Banker, who's the horse I was saying beat Oath of Omerta. I have no argument. This is the horse to beat.
Shorten up in distance, 1 at this mile distance for the maiden score. Last year is a 3-year-old. As we look at Solo Dancing. Will be running late if he runs at all here. But now from 9-2 back to, from 2-1 favorite up to 9-2, now back down to 7-2 on this horse.
Are they betting Ricardo Santana? Is that what's going on with this horse? I don't get it. I'm not saying the horse can't win. I don't like this horse, but I think this horse is supposed to be 8-1. How is this horse 7-2 and the 6 11-1, Greg?
That makes no sense. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. But I do feel, I mean, the 6 has one of the better races of anyone in the field, probably outside of Easy Roll, 2 back. I don't understand 12-1 on that. That's the value of this field, right?
I agree.
And here is Kiss Me, Hold Me, Thrill Me, 4-year-old by Salamini. That was at 1 1/8 2 starts ago, and flat on and won that race, would come back to win again, and just faced a little bit too tough, even though was a little bit behind Solo Dancing, but Sheriff Bianco, and even though his better days are behind him, better than what he's facing here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to stick with my opinion on the 7. I like that Christopher Elliott's riding this horse. He's a more aggressive rider, and I think this horse, there's some things to like about him. His race 2 back is good enough to win this race, and his race last time, he has a major excuse. To me, he's an automatic play at a square price in this race. No argument the 7's the worst to beat, but all the rest of them,
The 4 is.
The 4 is. Yeah. The 4, excuse me. You know, I do think the 3, I don't want to dismiss the 3. I want to see it again, but the last race was pretty good. I just want to see it again.
Yeah, but strictly based, wow, even money on the 4 right now, based off the last race for Easy Roll.
He's supposed to be the same price, roughly the same price as the 4.
Yeah.
And how he's a similar price to the 5, I have no idea. I mean, maybe it's a lot of people like Ricardo. I don't know. I don't quite get it, to be honest.
A rare opportunity to get Pratt at not getting bet completely way down.
Yeah, well, is it because it's a late rider change?
Maybe.
That maybe a lot of people didn't see it? I don't know.
All right, about to load up. Get your value here if you can, because Pratt will be on board, a massive favorite in our nightcap, Shellac.
Yes.
The 4 who's going to get shellacked at the windows.
He will be an overwhelming, and should be, he should be 1-5 in that race. On paper, he cannot lose.
Chris Griffin with the call. Here's race 7 from Aqueduct.
Solo Dancing. Next up, Kiss Me, Hold Me, Thrill Me. 2 out. Oath of Omerta. Resilient Hero. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Easy Bourbon down towards the inside with early speed, and here's Oath of Omerta to join that early leader, and Caddy Master from in between horses. That's the top trio as they get set to come out of the chute. Kiss Me, Hold Me, Thrill Me is now there in 4th. Outside of them comes Resilient Hero, who's in 5th, very spread apart now as they hook up with the backstretch. On the front end, it's Caddy Master. Caddy Master with a nose advantage. Oath of Omerta, though, is going to pressure this early leader. These two head and head. Kiss Me, Hold Me, Thrill Me is taken 3rd, is tugging here at Eric Cancel wants to move forward. Easy Bourbon is at the rail in 4th. They're 3.5 lengths clear. Towards the back end of the field, there comes Solo Dancing, is followed to the outside by Resilient Hero and Easy Roll. They're working up the backstretch, and Caddy Master a neck in front. Oath of Omerta inside the half-mile pole now and into the turn. Caddy Master with a stubborn foe to the outside of Oath of Omerta. Easy Bourbon is trying to rally on. Right there, Kiss Me, Hold Me, Thrill Me is in 4th. Resilient Hero is right there with Easy Roll and Solo Dancing at the back end of the field. They're approaching a quarter-mile left to go. The favorite with Oath of Omerta having to deal with this runner towards the outside, and Oath of Omerta now puts a neck in front. There's the favored Caddy Master battling on back towards the inside. Center of the racetrack, Resilient Hero. From the back, here comes Easy Roll, who starts to have a little momentum now. Caddy Master, Oath of Omerta. Easy Roll is eating up ground, grandstand side. Here's Easy Roll. Flavia and Pratt trying to push on by. Easy Roll won it. Easy Roll over Oath of Omerta, then Resilient Hero and Caddy Master in 1 minute 37.67 seconds.
Easy Roll 7-2. Flavia and Pratt had the best race of anyone in this field, and it was last time out.
I liked Ray Handel a lot more before he just ran me down for a little bit of a hit there in that pick 3, but can't knock the 7. You know, he did run very well, but he ended up being second best. This horse, you know, I agreed with Maggie. I wanted to see it again from this horse, but we did see it again, and he ran well. By the way, the 8 who we mentioned finishing 3rd, how was he 30-1 in here? This race is about as badly misbet a race. I mean, we talked about how the 3 and 4 should be closer in price, and the 8 at 30-1 is. Unfortunately, I only used the 7 third in tries. I had a 3-8-7 try. That would have worked out well.
How this horse, take away Pratt, I felt should have been vying for favoritism with Pratt on as overbet as he gets. Wow, 7-2 is
you know what
a
this
gift.
Exacta pays? This Exacta is $33 for $1. That's a pretty good Exacta when you consider they were basically the second and third choices, right?
3-7-8-4. Yeah, 30-1 shot in 3rd. Caddy Master, the even money favorite, winds up 4th. Somehow it inflated 7-2 on Easy Roll. Now 2 for 18 lifetime. Pratt with a huge chance to wrap up this late double. Will be on a massive favorite in the nightcap, but he'll enjoy this one for the time being. Easy Roll getting it done in race 7. Back on our Sunday coverage on Fox Sports 2. Watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. And as we get set for the nightcap, first let's wrap up race 7. Easy roll, pickup mount. Flavian Pratt for Ray Handel. And easy roll at 7-2. 3-7-8-4 finish.
Well, we're happy for our friend Ray, who spent a little time with us yesterday, and picking up Flavian Pratt never hurts. Would he have won if Flavian didn't ride him? Yeah, what's up with Ray? He's probably tired out. He had to work yesterday.
He worked very hard on the program.
Our producer's saying, "Where's Ray?" And I got to tell you, he's probably sleeping at all. After yesterday's time with us,
it was a taxing show.
It's not easy, Got to work with the big guys.
Easy roll.
Or in my case,
back
the
of the
guy.
pack here. Yeah, but starts to turn it on.
Yeah, the race was kind of falling apart at the end, and the 7 ends up putting away the 4. Who really had no excuse considering and just wasn't able to hold off, unfortunately. Oh, well. It would have been better if it had been a 3-8-7 finish. I would have had to try for $1.
$9.76 for the win. 2 for 18 lifetime now for Easy Roll. Pratt pickup mountain. He's going to be on the massive favorite here in the nightcap. Shellac. Huge drop from 40 down to maiden 12.5. You will not get 7-5 on Shellac.
I'm just curious what the pick 4 is paying, relative to the pick 3.
Yeah.
Because, Shellac has got to be a crazy, crazy favorite. The pick 3 just paid a very generous $48.
$34.
And so it's paying $69 versus $48. So we get that extra $21, which feels like value.
7 minutes from the 7th out at Oaklawn. $62,000 claiming race, 6 furlong sprint. Surveillance back in action for Mike Makers. Stay with us.
First again and again and again. First mission, 4 graded stakes. He made finishing first his mission, and all with big buyers. Now he's a Darley Stallion, and breeders are falling in love with him. Here's fabled horseman John Williams.
First mission is an eyeful. He's beautifully balanced, and I love the way he uses himself as he moves.
Come to see First Mission and tell us your first impression. Consider it your mission.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
Buy them.
Respect them.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them.
Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Gunrunner is the sire of 16 millionaires and 12 Grade 1 winners. Last year, he sired $17 million yearlings, including the Keeneland September sale topper. He was the sire of the $2.2 million Keeneland November weanling sale topper as well. Gunrunner was the co-leading sire of 2-year-old Grade 1 winners, including Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner Super Corridoro. Gunrunner, breed true.
Join analysts Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro on the road to the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Get picks and analysis for all the prep races and gain insight into promising contenders on the trail to the Derby and Oaks. That and more on the Naira Bets YouTube channel. The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, brought to you by Gainesway Farm. Power, passion, performance, Gainesway. And we've got a really nice upper level claiming race here, 62,500. Post raid coming up. Surveillance taking all the money down on the inside. He is a 12-time winner and a winner of over $1.2 million.
I thought this race was way more open than what his 3-2 price suggests. Venerable and always a good doer, I will say. He likes to carry that extra weight as an older gentleman.
Yeah, at 9 years old, he does have a race under his belt after coming off a little bit of a freshening. Should be better for that race. The 2 is Oscar Eclipse.
Comes off a well-beaten third last time out. First off the claim for Chris Hartman.
Otto the Conqueror, last seen winning in Saratoga.
He comes off a voided claim off of a pretty big layoff, but he looks very good in the flesh.
And here is the 4-horse owned by Louis Sella, trained by Ron Moquette, Sinner's Sin.
Second off a bit of some time. He's competitive here.
The other Asmussen runner in Braun and Brown.
He's smaller, more petite Louisiana bred, taking on open foes.
The 6 Lunar Module making his first start off the claim for Tim Martin.
And tougher, I would say, to claim from someone like Norm Cassio, who usually has his horses very well spotted.
And this is a horse I know we're both interested in, the 7 Empire Builder.
Hey, you know I love a turnback angle, Mig.
Turn back with a horse that's kind of runaway speed routing. The 8 on the far outside, Ghost of Midnight.
He is such a cool horse to me in the way that I just love him physically. He's kind of a burlier individual. He's got so much muscle mass. He's flashy. He just has left a little bit more to be desired from his last 2 starts. Can he turn the tables? I think this is a lesser field for him to do so.
I agree. Maybe the post could help him a bit. Surveillance, post 1. Boy, he's ultra consistent. He tries at 9 years old. I'll say this, Megan, as I got older as a rider, if I had time off, coming back off an injury, it always took me a little bit longer to get to my optimum fitness level. At 9 years old, I'm sure Surveillance probably needed the last run.
And if you go through his form lines, I mean, he was running in some really strong races, the likes of Bookham Dano last year, Roland Big Joe later in the year, Wendelson, who we saw run yesterday in a stake race. So this is a drop in class for him, but his efforts, have left a little bit more to be desired. And he's second off of the time away now. He's a 9-year-old. And as you mentioned, getting back into his form, he's going to be the clear horse to beat on paper. I just find that taking these older horses, even if it is second off of the bench, I still have my hesitancy, especially considering he's a closer and he does draw from the inside, making out that kind of trip.
Yeah, it has to work out a trip. The 3-horse, Otto the Conqueror, he made a nice physical impression, but the last time we saw him was back in Saratoga, and we're going to take a look at that winning effort from Otto the Conqueror, who was very, very resolute this day.
He took a small stumble at the start. It wasn't as overt as maybe the short comment had suggested, but he tracked off of the pace. He was game that day against Loco Abario, who came back to win a claiming race after that, and it was just a lower level group. This is tougher competition that he faces today with the likes of Surveillance dropping back down, but he's a horse that has maybe found a little bit of inconsistency. They always thought highly of him. He was almost a Derby contender, but he just didn't quite fare. So he's a sprinter, but he is just incredible in the flesh. He looks fantastic. He's more refined than when I saw him all the way back as a 2- and 3-year-old. So I really liked what I saw from him. I thought he looked best, but I still have my questions off of the bench.
It did make a nice physical appearance. So in the warm-up, the Sinner's Sin, a horse that I was telling you off camera, I always kind of gravitate to. I just like this horse, and he's going to be forward. He's coming off a very good effort. He's had a lot of stops and starts recently in his form.
He has. They laid him off in March, came back in December against a first-level allowance group, and then you see here against that claiming 50 last time out where he was just missed. It kind of heartbreaking there because he was so game, but against as good as I once was in that tracking kind of tactical position. I liked what I saw from him physically. I think he looked better for it from his last start to now, and he's competitive. I mean, you're getting 9-2 on him right now. Big. This is just one of those races. I could really talk into a case in any one of these horses.
Absolutely. Didn't he run, honestly, last time like a horse that needed a race? Because he got where he needed to be. He just couldn't seal the deal. We're going to go now to number 7, the horse that we're very interested in. This horse is turning back. But look at the fractions of his last race, 22-3, 45-4. Those are sprint times in a route race, and he was just full off running just full out running off with Francisco Arrieta.
If I was going to go against the favorite in Surveillance, I wanted to do it with this horse. As you mentioned, everything to a T. He's a runoff type that gets the speed. He shortens up. Just a classic angle for a horse that probably should have spent more time sprinting versus the route game that they've continued to have him on. And I know the barn's pretty cold, but gets Francisco Arrieta aboard. This horse looks fantastic in the paddock. He's strong behind. He doesn't tower in his frame like a horse that needs all that distance. So I think he's really well spotted in this field, and if he doesn't quite run, he's 10-1. He's worth taking a price in this field.
Well, that's what I thought too. At a bigger price, the turn back. Interesting that he only sprinted once. But some horses, when you put the bit up in their mouth trying to slow them down, they run off with you. When you try to ask them for speed, they don't give you that speed. So it's an interesting dynamic. We'll know pretty early on whether he's going to be competitive here or not.
We will. He's going to have to be up front and contesting that early pace. But I'm also going to use the number 8 in my trifecta as Ghost of Midnight. He's a horse that I'm interested in, and 8-1 I think is a solid price on a horse like that.
He does have races in his past that would make him very competitive here. Where they're loading up for race number 7, Matt Dinnerman. He'll have the call.
Empire Builder walking up. Otto the Conqueror. Sinner's Sin, post position number 4. Again to the outside post, Ghost of Midnight. Waiting for Ghost of Midnight to take his turn. Sinner's Sin has gone in. Here's Ghost of Midnight. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Good beginning. Otto the Conqueror, fresh off a layoff, is quick. Here comes Sinner's Sin to come and challenge him. Otto the Conqueror, narrow lead on Sinner's Sin. Surveillance not far away. The rail's open for him to come through and challenge. Otto the Conqueror speeds it up just a little bit, shows the way narrowly. Surveillance down on the inside. Sinner's Sin, Empire Builder, 3 deep with that party. Gap of 2 to Oscar Eclipse. Another 4 to Ghost of Midnight, who's third last. Lunar Module, Braun and Brow drop to the back together as they hit the 4-turn run. Otto the Conqueror into the turn. Half length in front. Sinner's Sin hard ridden between horses. Empire Builder cutting back from routes is moving up 3 wide. And Surveillance is right off the top 3 now, trying to come back on again on the fence. Next is Oscar Eclipse. He's in an all-out drive getting to the outside. They're off the turn. Otto the Conqueror leads. Surveillance tips off the rail, finds a clear path to come on here. Otto the Conqueror, Surveillance side by side. Oscar Eclipse not far away as well with 1 furlong to go. Otto the Conqueror, Surveillance. Otto the Conqueror and Surveillance stride for stride. Inside, it's Otto the Conqueror. Otto the Conqueror holding off Surveillance, who's drifting out late, and Otto the Conqueror is going to win it. Otto the Conqueror over Surveillance. Then came Oscar Eclipse and Ghost of Midnight.
In race 7 at Oaklawn Park, it was a very game. Otto the Conqueror, long layoff, no problem. Keith Asmussen for his dad, Steve. Ultra game, met the stiff challenge from Surveillance and was able to battle him off.
This was incredibly impressive. You're talking a 5-year-old, yes, he's older, against a seasoned 9-year-old down the lane, a horse in Otto the Conqueror who's had maybe a little bit of trouble figuring things out at times. Well, he figured it out today. They sent him for the speed that we know he has, and that's where his better races have come. When they're more aggressive, when he finds himself in that front-end position early.
But he bounced out of the gate with run on his mind, got so comfortable. Remember, it's not how fast you're going, it's how you're going fast, and he was enjoying himself up in the front end. Ears up and met the challenge, guys.
And yeah, another sub 109, 6 furlongs, 108.87.
Track has gotten, you were saying yesterday how we haven't seen a lot of 108 and change. I think the track's gotten pretty quick there. Track's actually been pretty quick in New York this week as well.
All right,
it's just a lot of the horses haven't been that quick.
Glad we had that time away, because during that time away, we looked at this race a little deeper. And yes, this is way the horse to beat. There's a danger in here.
Right. In our opinion, it's ridiculous that Gray Ace is the second choice at 3-1, because Senior Poncho on the outside. And take a look. The horse came off a 6-month layoff last time and caught a muddy sealed track and never got into the race. And it was also a day when speed was good, but did show a little bit of speed. So this horse has run several races where the figures are fast enough to compete with the favorite here. This horse is, and we're not, the 4 is way the horse to beat, but I think the both of us, Senior Poncho, is way the second likeliest winner.
Including, 2 lengths ahead of Grace when he ran second for 35. back in June against Maiden 35.
At 5-2.
Yeah. Let's go down to Maggie.
Now, guys in the truck, don't get mad at me because I have changed my numbers multiple times here as to who I'm going to talk about because I keep noticing interesting things. But let's start with your favorite. That is number 4, Shellac in here, who does turn back in distance. He's all sprinter. This guy is short, compact. He's every bit of a sprinter prototype that you could ask for. So I'm okay with the poor performance that he comes in here off of last time out. And if he can just sniff at his first 2 performances on the racetrack, then he should be a winner here as the shortcut cheater blinkers go on. Bill Morey has great numbers, 50% drop in class with his maidens. He's 16 for 46. So yeah, there's a lot of things backing up the favoritism for Shellac. Also, Flavien Prouderboard, who looks to take the late double. Next, we'll move on to the 1 in here. That is Plex for Fernando Abreu, who I'm not sure what to make of his Florida form. The 2nd and 3rd place finishers came back to win, but they did so with slower figures, 54 and 46 respectively. But he does come back now as a 4-year-old. There's every reason to believe that he could be a little bit better. He makes a nice impression in here. Good-sized horse, fairly laid back. So I don't know how much speed we're going to get from him from that rail position, but is very strong behind the saddle and just looks well prepared. Looking at him for this comeback to the races, we'll see how he fits with this 12-5 group, and he is entered for the for the waiver claim. So at least maybe they're showing a little bit of confidence there with Plex. Moving on to a long shot I'm interested in, number 6, A Stern Command, making his 3rd start off the bench, and for Jimmy Ryerson. Here's number 6. He has tucked up so much. I didn't see him back on February 21st, but from January 4th, he has really become more defined and just looks so much more well prepared for this start here. And last time, you know, he was inside kind of mid-pack, which that race wired by long shot Dr. Merciless that day, and he got checked pretty significantly going into the turn. So now he gets another fast track to work with here, which he has never sprinted on a fast track, and I just find him intriguing. He's looking fantastic in the flesh here, and the only drawback is, for me as a long shot, he does add those front wraps. As I do want to touch on number 8, Senor Pancho, who you guys mentioned some interest in, and I would too. If it weren't for the extension blinker and the cage bit that I see on him now. I did not cover his last race back on February 27th. From what I could make out from the replay, it didn't look like he had this on. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. But like you said, he does have some races to go back on here, Greg.
7-1 right now. That is just way too big a price.
That's silly. It's silly that he's a bigger price than Gray Ace, in my opinion. Gray Ace's performance last time was bad. People should know. Take a look at Dr. Merciless. I think he was entered today and scratched. He was today or yesterday. Yeah, he was entered in the last race. So take a look at the horse that beat him last time, the 2 in the last race, and ask yourself how much you really want to take him as the second choice here. I think we both believe the 4 is an extraordinarily, I think all of us, Maggie too, the 4 is an extraordinarily likely winner. The question is, if you were trying to beat him or you're playing exacta, who's the other horse? And at least you and I think it's the C8.
Here's the post parade. See if anyone catches our eye here. Plex off since May of last year. Manny Franco aboard.
One of his races in a bottom-level maiden claimers down in Florida was good enough to get a piece here. He does come back for the waiver.
Gray Ace, Senor Pancho, the 8's finished in front of him twice.
Yeah, he just hasn't really. He's had his chances, but maybe a fast track will help him.
Shellac. We'll see when we go back to the 1.
Shellac taking
1-2.
Huge drop.
And here's the class dropper.
Taking a huge, huge drop and getting Flavien, likely winner. This horse just take a little hit down to 6-1. The firster, Chips and Fish.
And Jamie Rodriguez rides.
Was there efficient chips already? That name was taken?
Apparently. Omaha Beach, first-time starter. Here is A Stern Command, who Maggie touched on.
Yeah, I always give another look to Jimmy Ryerson's horses as well, but I think this horse is more of a turf horse. Or
price keeps getting better on Senor Pancho, 7-1.
I don't understand how this horse is this big a price. I don't get it at all. Second off, fast track, has races. I don't see why this horse isn't the clear second choice here.
Back to Oaklawn, Otto the Conqueror. Picture time. Steve Asmussen's son Keith, former stakes winner for a brief moment, was on the Triple Crown Trail back in 2024.
Finished second to the winner of last year's Met Mile, Raging Torrent, in a fast race at Churchill Downs.
Yeah, in the Maxfield.
Chased the pace in the Allen Jerkins behind Domestic Product, was running against Roll On Big Joe. Really game performance here.
You know, it looked like Surveillance came up to him and
perfect trip, like he was going to roll on by. He barely held second.
$12.40 for this 5-year-old son of Street Sense. 6 wins now, 15 starts.
Dead on the board, but gets the money.
And the Asmussen train keeps on rolling at Oaklawn. Back to New York, 1-2 favorite. Pratt looking to go back-to-back and take this late double on the Sunday card.
Pratt having his full winter here. I mean, he's been gone a number of weekends, as was to be expected. An exceptional rider, obviously, and we'll see what happens. And Irad didn't ride this weekend, but expected back on Thursday.
Yeah, I guess that's the hope, next Thursday to return.
And I'm sure we'll see him on, if we don't see him in an appearance in New York, we'll see him on Belmont Stakes Week, but otherwise he'll be at Churchill. I'm keener than Churchill.
This man right here, back-to-back Eclipse Awards, has a chance to go down, do you believe, as one of the all-time greats?
I mean, he's already in, one of the potential greats. I mean, he's young enough that you have to see how it goes, but I agree. Why not? He and I read both. I mean, I wonder when we reopen Belmont if Flavian wins another Eclipse or two, if Irad thinks maybe I need to be in New York more if I really want to be serious about winning Eclipse Awards. On the other hand, when you made $40 million in purses, I don't think he really cared that much about that Eclipse. I think he was very happy with his bank account.
By the same token, I mean, it was an incredibly close race.
They're competitive.
So
He's a highly competitive guy. He clearly wants to win. You're right. It was very, very close. Right. I agree. But
1-4 now on Shellac.
I think he's supposed to be a heavier favorite. I think the 7's supposed to be. I think he should probably be about 1-2, and the 7 should be around 9-2 or 4-1. I don't totally trust the 7, but I think he's clearly the second. The 8, excuse me. He's clearly the second likeliest. He is. If the 4 loses, I think the 8 is 2-5 to be the horse that beats him.
Would you say go ahead?
No, that's all I was going to say. I'm saying if the 4 loses.
Yeah.
If somebody said to me, I know the 4 loses, I would say I'll take it 3-5. It was the 8.
Yeah. At worst, should he probably be 4-1, the 8?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's 7-1 right now.
Yeah, I don't quite understand. They're only looking at his recent race, and that was off a layoff on a muddy sealed track, so I think he's clearly the second likeliest winner here. And listen, I mean, who knows? Maybe Chips and Fish is okay, the firster. You just don't really know. I am a fan of Antonio Arriaga. And this horse has, who's right? Ricardo's riding this horse, right?
Chips and Fit. No, it's a rider change. Jamie Rodriguez.
Jamie Rodriguez. I couldn't read my own handwriting, but somehow it was so bad that Jamie Rodriguez looked like Ricardo Santana. That's how bad my handwriting is. I'm embarrassed to show you what it looks like.
That is pretty
well,
bad.
it is a J. I should have noticed the J to start.
Scribble, scratch.
Figure that out.
How'd you make it through school? 2-5.
I asked myself that same question.
The sad thing is, a lot of the notes, and it's obviously good we've made the switch technology-wise. I can't read my own writing
If
either.
I hadn't switched to majoring in Grateful Dead tours, I probably wouldn't have graduated from college.
Here's the firster. So Chips and Fish. Omaha Beach first-time starter for Antonio Arriaga. 8-1 right now.
Well, I like Antonio. I think he's a good trainer. Doesn't have many horses, but he does win. But I did not look up his stats with firsters. He doesn't feel like a horse that has too many of them. I don't understand why the 2 keeps dropping and the 8 stays the same price. I feel like I'm looking at different PPs than everybody else. Sometimes it feels like after the race you had different PPs than everybody else, but quite frequently. Do you feel like they're taking their sweet time getting the gate here?
Yes, they are.
Giving us a chance to hang out here.
There's Raylu Gutierrez, red cap. Let's go back to Maggie.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of a delay here. I think the vets were taking a look there at Senor Pancho. It looks as though he will, I think, run here, but that's what was taking a little bit of a delay here. Guys, I'm always leery of horses that, put that extension blinker on first time out. I know you like him, and I can see why, but I'd tread lightly.
It's not that we like him, because we think the 4 is going to win. Our point is that based on their PPs, he's not supposed to be a bigger price than the 2.
That's supposed to be 6 to 1.
That's really our point. That's the point. It's not that I like him. I think the 4 is much more likely to win than he is, but I think it's closer than his current odds. That's all.
So here's Gray Ace, Ruben Silvera, Mitchell Friedman. And a chance for that man to take the late double. Again, Pratt for Bill Morey. Big drop in class for Shellac. Chris Griffin with the nightcap from Aqueduct.
Chips and fish. A stern command. Senor Pancho, last to load. Sunday finale. All set. And they're off. Gray Ace broke with early speed, is right there with Shellac, who now puts ahead in front. Following them towards the outside, Senor Pancho's in third. At the rail comes Plex in fourth. They're followed to the outside by Chips and Fish and a stern command at the back end of the field. They work up the backstretch and they're chasing Shellac. Shellac is now clear, is up by a length and a half, and Gray Ace tightly at the rail is in third. Just got past the outside by Senor Pancho. Plex is looking for a way out. Manny Franco wants off the rail and tips to the 2 path here. Hemmed in, though, by Chips and Fish, who's on the move, 23.13, that opening quarter mile. The trailer, a stern command. Shellac has been there throughout, is gliding along. Chips and Fish is ranging up to the outside and ready to challenge. Back to third is Senor Pancho. Back to fourth is Gray Ace. Dropping back quickly was Plex, and a stern command is far out of it. They reach the top of the stretch, and Shellac just keeps on going. Shellac is up by 2.5. Chips and Fish is going to move down towards the inside, trying to challenge this favorite who's drawing away. Shellac is approaching the final 16th, is well out in front, and is going to win this one easily. Shellac, Flavien Pratt, they win the finale. Chips and Fish was second, then came Senor Pancho and Gray Ace at 1 minute 16 and 4.
Shellacks this field, and Pratt the late double goes off at 1 to 2.
Wins the race quite easily. The firster took a little money and did a little bit of running. Was able to cause me to lose my 4-8 exacta. But this horse was never in doubt. 1 to 2.
Did you put in the claim for him? He was taken.
No, I didn't. I didn't have the 12,000. I didn't have the 12.5. I was 1,200. About 12,483 short, I think.
You just hit a big pick 3. What are you talking about?
It's in my account, though. You
4,
can't use
5.
that to claim.
You can put an IOU in there.
Cash in my pocket.
They don't take IOUs?
I might have $17 in my pocket.
4, 5, 8 to finish. First time starter second. Senor Pancho winds up third, and Gray Ace fourth. But no doubt about your winner. And finds the right field.
Yeah. Well, that's what the
and
game's
off to
about.
a new barn.
Yeah. Seemed like a pretty strong drop, but found the right field. I'm not sure how much the horse is really worth. We'll see what happens. We'll see who claimed. I'm sure Linda was involved. I don't know. Cross traffic, Maury drop, probably.
All right, we'll get those prices momentarily. Back to Hot Springs. Race 8. Approaching the 12-minute mark to post. Arkansas bred allowance race. Non-winners at 2 lifetime. 6 furlong sprint ahead. Miss Carroll County. Current favorite as we go to Megan.
Well, a good group of Arkansas fillies and mares in this spot as we'll take a look at the number 3, Miss Macy, who I know Maggie liked last time out, and the blinkers comment, just the way she was sharpened off that race really encourages us. She's going to be nowhere near at 20 to 1 that she was last time out up there. Now it's 7 to 2. No, she is an enormous daughter of street strategy who has a lot of size. I will say I wish she was just a bit stronger behind, but man, she's just got so much size to her, so I understand why they tried routing routing her, which she has won doing. But as Maggie alluded to in our paddock report last time out, and something that you can tell in some of her races was she just was more just kind of waited for horses to pass her to then engage in the bridle. And the blinkers came on last time out. She broke from the outside, but I do think the blinkers at the end of the day helped her keep to task, helped her stay running and in position, not running in stops and starts. And I think she'll be very strong yet again, showing more tactical speed with the addition of those blinkers. But the number 6, Rockin' the Lane, a speedster for Chris Hartman. Very sharp last time out, very sharp yet again in the paddock. She looks fantastic physically, and you know, these are a mixture of 3- and 4-year-olds. She's not one that's so petite in size. She really carries herself well against some of these older mares, and I think that she's going to show speed yet again, and trying to redeem off of a pretty dismal performance where she got to the front end, set a pretty very contentious pace considering the level and against Arkansas bred foes last time out. So I'm hoping to see her improve, and she does have the speed to carry if she can sustain so. But the number 10, Queen Mallard for Ron Moquet, I've always thought this was such a good looking mare. Now 5, she carries herself so well, and she has been a cantankerous sort in the past. She's the one where you kind of avoid her in the paddock because she can get to some of those antics, where she today has been so much more well composed, so much more mind on business, didn't have issues getting the tack on, and just honestly a completely different customer than the last couple of times I've seen her, where it seems as though maybe have taken some of the energy out of her races. She looks incredible. She's carrying her flush so well. Honestly, she looks even better than when I saw her first off the bench and even last time out here at Oaklawn. So I think she has the capability, Greg, to improve off of that disappointment last time out.
Again, thank you. 10 minutes away from this 8th. We'll have the post parade in just a few moments. Let's wrap up the card here in New York. Shellac back-to-back to close out the late double. Flavian Pratt rides here for Bill Morey. Huge drop in class. This 4-year-old son across traffic. First career win, career start number 6, and moves to a new barn was claimed.
See, Greg, sometimes they do run the races on paper. Those looked hard to beat on paper and proved hard to beat in the racetrack with the first running a credible second.
Over at this point.
Yeah.
That looked the first-time starter showing a little bit of ability.
Yeah, the first-time starter ran a little bit. I agree.
Made it interesting for a moment.
Right. Would have won this race in a lot of situations, but the 4 as a drop-down was an unusual horse, all things considered, in this race.
So Shellac graduates with a win, gets claimed, moves to a new barn. And we're waiting this one to move official. We're going to say, so long. You missed your flight, though.
That's
to Andy Sterling.
Yeah.
You were headed to, where, the Bahamas this weekend?
Getting me on an airplane is not an easy thing.
Maggie Wolfendale is going to come from downstairs up to the desk to swap out for Andy after this timeout. We got more coming up from Oaklawn.
I'll see you Thursday. See you Thursday.
All right, we're just going to let Andy leave.
Slither away.
As we have more from Oaklawn here coming up. 8 minutes away from the 8th. This Arkansas bred allowance race, 6 furlong sprint. Look at the field. Queen Mallard, Double Daddy Issues on the outside, both taking support. Let's go to Mig.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And I'm so pleased to be joined by Tim Dixon, the conditioner of Miss Carroll County, 6-year-old mare. She's favored right now. She's coming off a good effort in the stake.
Yeah, we run against Hall and Ice. You know, it was a really tough race, but we run best we could, and we think we're in the right spot today.
Yeah, Hall and Ice is a little bit of a different kind of mare, right?
Kind of different deal there. But sometimes you got to run against a good one to see how good you are.
Well, looking at your mare here, she's really well turned out. Looks terrific. And we were talking off camera. You actually swim her at your training center. You have a pond to swim her in.
Yeah, I got a lake inside of my track at my training center, and we got a 125-foot dock, and we swim her every day all summer. Just keep her fit, keep her nice, keep the weight off of her, bring her back, just run her at Oaklawn only, so it kind of lets us train on her all year but not have to pound on her all year.
Right, the concussion from constantly training, so you keep her fitness level with the swimming. She's earned nearly $200,000, but really this Arkansas bred program is something to take advantage of.
Oh yeah, we can't be more blessed to have a place like this where we can run Arkansas bred for $125,000 and you know, just and right here in my back door. So I feel blessed to be here.
Thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck here.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Guys.
All right, big thanks. Tim Dixon with Miss Carroll County is going to lead off the post parade when we come back. The current 8-5 favorite, 6-year-old mare looking for win number 2 in her 17th outing when we come back. Back with you on our Sunday coverage on Fox Sports 2 here on America's Day at the Races. Overview of Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn. Program brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. We have race 8. 4 minutes away. Maggie Wolfendale joining me on the desk. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Good. Good to see you up here.
Yeah.
This 8th race, 8-5 on Miss Carroll County. We just heard from Tim Dixon. What do you think of this 6-year-old mare?
You know, last time out, she tried to run with Hull and Ice, who is one of the most talented Arkansas breds we've seen ever. So, you know, trying to beat her at her game, you're not going to be able to do it. So she does have a good bit of speed, though there does feel like there's some others that could make things a little difficult for her. Mind you, I didn't get to hear Tim's interview, and so we will do the post parade here.
Apparently. 8-5.
Yeah, he said it 3 times.
Tim Dixon, Kelsey Haar.
Yeah, it looks, she's going to have to be used a little bit from that inside post position to use her speed.
All right, settle down. Miss Macy at 5-1.
I liked Miss Macy last time out. She didn't have quite enough to seal the deal, but the blinkers definitely helped her.
Rock in the Lane. Winner 2 back.
Brings speed to the party.
Yeah, bumped at the start last day out. Woodruff 8-1 with Abel Cedillo.
I don't know. Looks a bit slow on paper. He's going to have to improve with the cutback.
Ron Moquette has Queen Mallard with Keith Asmussen.
Now, the pace did totally fall apart in her defense, but she has trouble finishing her races.
And Double Daddy issues outside. It's going to be coming from well off the pace.
Maybe she gets the right setup today.
Not get out of the gate well.
No, she doesn't. But a lot of these horses do have speed. She does get Ramon Vasquez to take over for the first time.
Just heard from Tim Dixon. There is his 6-year-old mare, 7-5 favorite as we go back to Hot Springs.
Yeah, I tell you what, this 6-year-old mare out of by Cinco Charlie, I should say, excuse me, looks really, really well turned out. I love the fact that they swim her. She doesn't train as much, you know, that constant concussion of galloping or working. And she was the one cast into that unenviable position of having to chase all on ice last time.
She was, and as trainer Tim Dixon had mentioned in some of the press notes, that he is glad to get away from her, as many of these Arkansas breds would be. But breaking from the inside, she'll certainly show speed yet again. I just don't, I wonder, I think this is a little short to take on her from a betting perspective. Physically, as a 6-year-old, Tim Dixon's done a wonderful job and is very much the TLC and keeps her happy in the off-season as well for this Arky bred.
Yeah, and that's what he does. He just basically concentrates on the season when they have Arkansas bred races, and it is a lucrative program. It's doing extremely well. The 3-horse Miss Macy is ultimately where you landed.
Yeah, I really liked just the response last time out, though she was pretty decisively beaten that day. When the blinkers came on, she just was way more engaged, showed more speed, did all of the things that it seemed like we knew she could. And just briefly touching base with Johnny Ortiz, he thought the same thing. I mean, it looked like a different horse. And the only problem is I feel like hopefully the blinkers resolve this as well. But even Maggie has talked about this, and when she saw her last, that getting away from horses, maybe she waits and anticipates that, and it's easier for her, which last time out she broke from the far outside. So I hope that now that she's more inside, she can still be engaged as she showed us last time out, and she perhaps is a stepping stone to that $150,000 natural state breeder stake later on this meet.
I mean, a lucrative program here, much like the New York Breeders Program, $125,000 purse. Miss Macy gets the lion's share. Miss Carroll County, very, very game, second best. Queen Mallard, little change of tactics, rated, rallied on for third, guys, in a real tough feature race here at Oaklawn.
We say it a lot. We say it with the maiden races, too, because it's true. But this race, they put up a lot of money for these Arkansas bred runners out in Hot Springs. Yeah, $125,000 purse. Miss Macy getting first place share of that purse for trainer John Ortiz. Gonna take a timeout. We'll be back with prices. Set up the 9th to close out the card at Oaklawn when we come back.
$1,600,000. Thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
A warrior from the start.
Dornock is coming back. Dornock in the Remsen.
What separates the best isn't just talent, it's meeting the moment. Look your rival in the eye and say, not today.
It will be Dornock to win the Belmont Stakes.
And Dornock stubborn. Dornock wins the Haskell.
A world-class athlete made for the fight. That's Dornock.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you.
Good to have you with us on our Sunday coverage on Fox Sports 2. America's Day at the Races. We have the nightcap to come from Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was Miss Macy in race 8, rolling by the favorite, Miss Carroll County, our winner circle lead-in, brought to you by Phasing Tipton Digital, North America's #1 digital platform for thoroughbreds. Learn more about our auction schedule at digital.phasingtipton.com. Let's get digital. Miss Macy picks up the second win of her career, John Ortiz barn.
Yeah, she rolls in as the third choice on the board, gets a win over Miss Carroll County. I know the track has been quite fast. There were some legitimate fractions that she set early on there. Queen Mallard opting for different tactics, came from mid-pack and was able to close okay down the lane.
Let's go to Megan.
Here with trainer Johnny Ortiz, always cracking a joke, but but we are Miss Macy, just a filly that seems to really have turned the light bulb on. And you mentioned to your jockey, which was stronger, the race or the gallop out?
Oh yeah, it was funny watching him in the gallop out. He was standing up, like really trying to hold her back. But we always thought that she's a two-turn horse. I still think she is, but you know, the opportunity to run her short here has come up twice, and added blinkers had made her a little bit more sharp and a little more focused at task. Danilo did a really great job. Danilo's been an incredible rider for our barn, and you know, he placed her really well around the turn and just waited to the stretch to just ask her for everything.
Describe what it's like when you're trying to perhaps figure out a horse that even the smallest of equipment change like a blinker, when they're trying to get in the bridle and engaged, as she's really been able to figure out.
You know, obviously every trainer knows that you have to be very vigilant at each horse, and you got to know your own horse. And it's just, you know, these horses become family members after a long time, and you kind of tell which ones need a different, not even equipment, sometimes just a different hand or just a different approach to them.
Congratulations here, Johnny.
Thank you very much.
We will try to get out of the rain back here. That's finally hit us, Greg.
Yeah, we saw it coming down right before they broke from the gates in race 8. Cross-country pick 5 follow along with the finale remaining. You got out of the Conqueror for an upset. Miss Macy, although Shellac obviously going to hurt this pad a little bit.
Out of the Conqueror, he's the one that kicked our PA, production assistant Sam Shore.
Is it?
In the paddock nearly 2 years ago in Saratoga.
And how'd he come out of that?
With a pretty banged up wrist.
It's tough, though.
Good old Sam.
Going to close things out with this. 6 furlongs, Arkansas bred, $10,000 claiming race. And Choctaw Zip right now favored Kim Poole, who had a win yesterday.
Yeah, he's on a roll. As Kim Poole generally pulls off wins with long shots. I thought UVC, who's your other favorite, just with the drop in class, could be effective here.
We'll take a time out. We will look back at yesterday's Virginia Derby. 50 points to get into that starting gate for Riley Mott, potentially go up against Dad. We'll take a look back at Incredible's run. Much better than the 3-year-old debut. Stay with us.
There's nothing like being there at the race and having the horses go by and your horse is at the front of the pack. Nothing better.
We provide an inside look at the game. If people were to do this on their own, it would take years to develop the kind of relationships that we have with Hall of Fame trainers and horsemen. Here, you get to cut the line, so to speak, and you are in the thick of it at the highest levels of the game, and that's something that we really want for our partners. We want them to be dealing with high-class horses, have the chance to run in really big races, and we take care of the rest.
I look at spreading our placement of horse equine purchases as just a wise investment. They don't all work, but you're going to have ones that work because of the caliber of people at West Point that go through the horse selection vetting process. It's very thorough, super impressive.
Everybody here at West Point strives to provide a really comprehensive educational experience. We want you to be behind the velvet rope. Our partners get to know the trainers, the jockeys, obviously the horses. This is a real immersive experience to really get your feet wet and just feel like you're part of the action at the very front row.
I think it starts with the top, Terry and Debbie, ethics, this industry, having the right leader sets a tone for an organization. And they bring all that in every interaction, as does the entire West Point team.
You know, there aren't that many investments where you feel like part of a team, part of a family, but that's really true here, and that's what makes West Point Thoroughbreds so special.
Back on our Sunday coverage, we have the nightcap still to come from Oaklawn, but we're going to look back on the Derby Trail Saturday at Colonial Downs in Virginia. Virginia Derby, and there was only one graded stakes winner in that entire field. That was incredible. Wound up stepping up and winning again.
Yeah, of course, he won the Street Sense in his final race as a 3-year-old. Now, the return to, as a 2-year-old, I should say. Now, the return to the race as a 3-year-old did not go as planned in that Holy Bull, Greg, but I thought he spent a big amount of time on the dead rail there at Gulfstream, and you just knew that he was probably better than that race would suggest. Now, Jamie Torres, I think it's Jamie, had him in a good spot, stalking right behind the early pace setters, but he couldn't find a way through. But when he did and got through on the rail, we really saw this horse respond. So indicating that a bit more ground is going to be well within his wheelhouse. And I think there is a good bit of talent there. Didn't get the fastest number, an 80 to 88 buyer, but I like the fact that he was able to kind of sit, be patient, overcome some traffic, and go through a hole on the rail.
Impressive how he kind of scooted away from that group. Yeah, the number makes you think you want to see a little more, but going to have the potential to take that next forward step as well. We've seen horses 4th, 5th start take a big leap. Let's send it out to Hot Springs. What did you two think of that performance yesterday?
I thought it was very good, and I liked the way he finished as well. I agree with Maggie once he got through that hole, so he showed a lot of professionalism.
He did, and it is pretty special for Riley Mott to now have a horse that is likely going to be in the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby just based on points. Winning this 50-point prep race, and we all know that the Virginia Derby is kind of a newer stop on the trail. It's attracted a range of different horses. We'll see how the form holds up. But it's a pretty emotional story, just Pin Oak Stud losing their patriarch last year, continuing on, and now having this horse. Just a really feel-good storyline, and a horse that, to me, it was kind of like the wise guy long shot. This horse is a graded stakes winner.
And I think people threw him out off of one bad race.
Right.
You can never just discount a horse off of one subpar effort. Maybe he just woke up on the wrong side of the stall that morning. I like the fact that at the end of the mile and an eighth, I know the buyer figure might be a little light in comparison to some of the other, 3-year-old prep races. He still had his legs up underneath him. He finished through the wire like a horse that will get the 10th furlong, the 1.25 miles of the Kentucky Derby. And, Riley Mott's done a really tremendous job since going out on his own, obviously out from under the shadow of his Hall of Fame dad, Bill Mott.
And with that win, vaults to the top along with Paladin with 60 points on that Kentucky Derby leaderboard. Spacing's a little interesting, too, because now that's got to be really the final prep before you go to the Kentucky Derby, so it's probably going to be off this effort.
Yeah, that's what Riley was kind of saying after, that race in the post-race interviews, is that it's a little tricky. I don't think I'm going to be able to get him another race, which I'm sure, it could go either way. We don't know the horse. Maybe he is one that responds well to a bit more timing in between his races. As Riley also said, because it was a pretty much non-effort in the Holy Bull, he really didn't, it wasn't that tired after that effort. So I do think that as far as timing is concerned, he should be okay getting into the Derby off of that Virginia Derby win. Now, as far as what we've learned, were you supposed to say that, or was I?
It's fine.
All right. As far as what we've learned.
Yeah, we'll look at the 50-point winners.
Exactly.
I mean, who impressed you the most out of that group?
Well, who impressed? You have to say Commandment, because he did run the fastest race. In a way, I almost think the runner-up, Chief Wallaby, is the one who I want, though. Commandment, he won with his ears up. He was still kind of messing around a little bit. What is he going to do in a tough scenario? When the waters get deep, when he has 19 other horses to deal with, is he going to get that dream trip along the rail that he did going back to that Fountain of Youth? I thought, obviously, the overriding tone of these 50-point races is that we still need to see more. We still need to, somebody to assert themselves. It felt like last year, journalism was the one asserting himself. Sovereignty was, kind of there waiting in the wings. We get to see him break through and be the sovereignty that we got to know. But this year, it just seems so wide open, and we've seen a nice mix of horses who have run those fast races, like Paladin, like Commandment, but also a mix of horses like Incredible and the Puma, who have overcome some difficult trips, some traffic, some wide trips, overcoming pace scenarios, that haven't run the fastest races when it comes to speed figures, but I still think belong in the conversation.
Or a horse for, someone who knows how to do this more than anyone, Bob Baffert. Patente, second career start, stretching out, winning a graded stake Derby prep, and still has obviously a lot of upside, but is he being rushed to that Kentucky Derby? But we'll get one more prep.
Could he be the fourth horse only in history to win without a 2-year-old campaign or race?
Send it back to Hot Springs and get the thoughts of Mig and Megan.
Yeah, I'm very much of the mind, like Maggie, that, we have roughly 7 weeks of the Derby, that somebody kind of needs to step up to the fore. Right now, it just feels like it's still very wide open. And in this day and age, training and racing has changed so much. Years ago, Lucian Lauren with Riva Ridge had 3 preps to the Kentucky Derby. With Secretariat had 3 preps to the Kentucky Derby. And back then he was being questioned for not getting enough races into them before the Derby. Now 3 preps seems like a lot.
Maybe they just used to run more back then. And we've seen a Triple Crown winner not even start until the year that he ran in the race. So Mage was also a horse that started late. What I've learned from these 50-point prep races is that Todd Pletcher could very well win another Kentucky Derby. I really have liked what I've seen from every single runner, nearly Renegade, Class President. I have a list of things that I like from them, and also, like horses like Class President, things that are still left to be desired. I'm hoping this horse can continue to physically improve, but the mental fortitude and the raw talent around 2 turns in the Rebel was incredibly impressive, and not just because I'm an Oaklawn homer, but because I don't think he's fully developed yet, and that was such an impressive performance. And Renegade will be here in just 1-2 weeks in the Arkansas Derby. We'll see what he's made of as well.
Well, and the thing, too, is they're going to go to the Kentucky Derby. Will be a 20-horse field. They've got a lot to contend with, and without racing to get the experience, obviously the physical foundation, but the mental foundation to be in tight, to take kickback, to get roughed up. It's never a cleanly run race. It's a big field. They go too fast to pace for the distance. So I don't know that a horse that doesn't have as much racing isn't taking the worst of it. They're going to encounter more than they normally would in a race like the Kentucky Derby.
They will, and there's no huge buyer speed figure edge either, Meg. This is really going to be an interesting championship season as we look to the Louisiana Derby in just a week's time. That's attracted the likes of Emerging Market, Golden Tempo, some strong candidates in there for improvement as well.
Well, we got time to make up our minds, guys. We've still got another big round of Derby preps to come.
Yeah, the 6 100-point races all ahead of us, including here in the Wood Memorial, early April. And then we'll get our field sort of concrete and set, see if someone does emerge as a standout.
Yeah.
But to this point, it's wide open.
It is wide open. Paladin, he's coming back in the Bluegrass, right? Yeah, so we'll see what he does. Obviously, Commandment too. Yeah, these horses need to step up. And like Meg was saying, a horse like Emerging Market, what is he going to do off the back of that very fast maiden score first time out at Tampa in the Louisiana Derby? You know, it feels like a lot to bite off, honestly, but he could be just that talented.
Post right here for this finale. Again, Arkansas bred, $10,000 claiming race. And they'll make the turn. We'll kick things off in a moment here with Blessed Vision from the inside, who's been pretty good here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, 4 for 10 here over the local strip. Had the wet track last time, but in this same condition back on December 19th, makes sense. There he is, Tim Dixon, bookends the field.
Now, they got a bit of rain, didn't they, in that little...
On June 6, 2019, a new chapter began at Alapa when Hillendale transferred its operations to the famed Kentucky Station and Thoroughbred Nursery in Paris, Kentucky, on a farm that traces its origins to 1827.
You know, we're trying to be progressive, thoughtful, and respectful to what's already been here, the intent of the farm, along with, trying to become efficient and modern.
The 1,400-acre Alapa is driven by its owner, John Sikura's passion to return the landmark farm to its original glory. The extensive restoration includes building a brand new breeding shed out of stone and concrete, matching the training barn that's been converted to be a stallion barn and now houses a roster of world-class stallions. Hillendale also built 8 new barns, plus adding landscaping and building tens of miles of fence, plus adding roads and utilities. Sikura appreciates the daily inspiration the farm gives him.
There's the ruins of an old dairy barn, which is it's like a beautiful relic. It's peaceful and quiet. There's waterfall ponds behind the house, behind the office. There's many unique, peaceful, great parts of the farm that create peace and a sense of understanding where you are and how unique the farm is.
Sikura is now focused on making new history at Alapa.
When you think of all that living history, it makes you respectful of the barn and who's been housed there, and then also a responsibility of trying to keep that same standard and try to move it forward and be historic in what we do, so that when someone would look back 50 years from now, they have a feeling of obligation for them to do the same here.
Back for our final segment here on our Sunday coverage of America's Day at the Races. Chupapi Manayo. You can say it one more time, too, if you want.
Chupapi Manayo.
7-2 to close things out. A lot of runner-ups, but now 4th win in this 6-year-old's career in 26 tries.
And you're going to see him behind this wall of horses there, the blue cap with the white bridle. And Christian's going to just gently guide him down to the rail, makes the last move, which results in the win. As I thought, a valiant effort by eventual post-time favorite UVC, just came up half a length short.
$9.20 for the win. Pick 4, $393. Healthy, pick 3 too. Wow, over $500. Pick 5, $4,900. And the pick 6, $23,000 plus. Well done if you had any of that. This also closed out the cross country pick 5, which had basically a free square in there with shellac. $503 back.
Not bad at all. Yeah, especially with you know, not a chalky type of sequence, but a logical one. Not bad at all.
I'm gonna look back to yesterday, and this was, you know, incredibly popular win. I love to see Tejano Twist win. It's great to see him win the Whitmore. Earlier, though, in the Purple Martin, Goodall, just her 3rd career start. Steve Asmussen's son, Eric, aboard. She went faster in this win, in her 3rd career start, than Tejano Twist did winning the Whitmore.
Which is crazy. I mean, considering, you know, she's up towards the front end throughout the majority of this race, and she's going to kick clear here. Now, the argument could be made that possibly Riverwind, who was the beaten favorite, was fast. She had a check kind of entering the turn, and then she got bounced around on the rail there at the quarter pole.
She didn't break great either.
No, exactly. So just that one hole never doing one that many favors, though she did have it in the winning debut, but facing winners for the first time. And yeah, Goodall is
That was impressive, though.
very impressive. I love the way she finished. She finished with her legs up underneath of her, really striding out well. So she looks like one that in this sprint division for these 3-year-old fillies could be one to reckon with.
Indeed. Got to start thinking test, maybe, right?
Right? That's what I was going to say. Exactly. And we see such big performances year in and year out from horses in that test.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite races each and every
Absolutely.
summer for 3-year-old fillies. 7 furlongs at Saratoga. Quite a weekend we had. Obviously, just get your final thoughts here on, again, as we go back to that Virginia Oaks. And I thought it was, for the Virginia Oaks, it was a pretty strong field. And Incredible, is this a serious contender for the Derby?
I think Incredible is. I really like this horse. I liked him, you know, kind of exiting that Holy Bull. I thought you could make an excuse for him, and he, you know, proved that he belongs. I like the way that he was kind of tactical. You know, it's always kind of strange how that translates that 1-turn configuration to the 2 turns. Generally, they do go a bit faster, and he was handy enough to sit right there behind the pace and kick on with something left.
Now, obviously, Commandment, Chief Wallaby out of that Fountain of Youth look like incredibly strong right now. We'll see if they can back up that performance, that 1-2 finish in the Fountain of Youth when we see them again. And we're going to see some horses splintering off into different directions, though, too.
Yeah, they're not going to face each other again. I'm really excited to see what Chief Wallaby does, though, in his 3rd career start for Belmont. Could he go back-to-back Kentucky Derbies?
And we got Sovereignty, his winner from last year, reigning horse of the year, coming back at Oaklawn April 18th, I believe the date, that Oaklawn handicap. We're going to see you next week, Thursday, 3 Eastern start time on our Fox Sports coverage. We hope to see you then. It was easy roll. Flavian Pratt, first half of his late double, teaming up here with Ray Handel for the victory in a convincing win. And Miss Macy at Oaklawn, rolling by the favorite late. For trainer John Ortiz to take the feature in Hot Springs. We'll see you Thursday, 3 Eastern on Fox Sports.
A surging debut at 2, an international tour de force, an explosive winner of 2 sire-making Grade 1 races.
Raging Torrent running the race of his life. And Raging Torrent and Frankie Dettori cruise to victory in the Malibu. Raging Torrent's coming out party is in the Metropolitan Handicap.
Raging Torrent, the next wave in the Lane's End stallion-making tradition.
The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com. Get ready for the biggest races from the Sunshine State. Join NYRA Bets handicapper Matthew DeSantis and NYRA analyst Acacia Clement for Snowbirds. Pick some valuable insight for upcoming warm weather stakes races. That and more on the NYRA Bets YouTube channel.
Gunrunner is the sire of 16 millionaires and 12 Grade 1 winners. Last year, he sired $17 million yearlings, including the Keeneland September sale topper. He was the sire of the $2.2 million Keeneland November weanling sale topper as well. Gunrunner was the co-leading sire of 2-year-old Grade 1 winners, including Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner Super Corridoro. Gunrunner, breed true.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.